You're in the danger zone.
I love the show. I love you guys. Fucking, let's go Jets. Jets, 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 Jets.
Oh, I'm beating you with my mind. And I can still dominate, I think.
Dane, you're a legend, bro.
What up, what up? How's it going, Murph? It's Friday.
Yeah, that's right. It's a feel-good Friday. We're feeling good because we finally have a Jets coach in the building. What do you say about that?
Dude, I've like 48 hours I've been waiting for this stream, man. I was like, do I want to do another one early? And I'm like, no. You know what? Let me just wait, and then Murph will get my first take. You know, like, you know how it is, man. Your take evolves over time and shit, but so far so good. I'm still at that first feel good. Like, for one, like, it's just good to have something new, right?
Mm-hmm. It's good to know, like, because none of us knew shit going into this coming season. So like, we're just like, oh my God, who's our GM? Who's our head coach? And it's like, well, at least we got one of the dominoes to fall. And to me, that's a relief. Like, now we have an idea. Maybe we can start to get an idea of what a identity we're going to have on our team. So it's good to finally have an idea what's going on. Yeah.
Facts, man. Just a shout out to some people. I see Murdog and Johnny and Jay. Red's here. Some other. I'm sure Stack's down there somewhere, man. So glad you guys could join us for real, for real. We got Aaron Glenn down below on both sides, man. It's just
It is the best picture, though. That was the best picture of him out of
This one
all the
here,
ones I've seen. Yeah, yeah.
dude. So many people just reuse the same one. It's just like there are so many online. I gotta like I'll go to like page 3 of Google to find the right person, the right picture of somebody. You know.
Mhm.
I love the ones where they're pointing though. Like if you see up there in the corner pointing, because then I can put it where I want them to point. You know.
Yeah,
It's pretty
yeah.
cool. But a new there you go. ET phone home. Uh,
Yeah,
just to let's do this. There, boom. Let me
yeah.
flip us over to the other side. There we go. Yeah, dude, we big news, man. I like it's been what 4 years? I think in 2 weeks. I think it'll hit 4 years since we hired Sulla. Um, I don't think all four of those like we lost our like promising bubbly nature. It wasn't all 4 of the years, but like I'd say a good 18 months where we like were this excited about the front office. Um, I don't know, man. Like I saw him play, so I am biased, but I don't know. Maybe aside from your take, what do you think the fan base, the national media, the local media, what is like the vibe you're getting across the slate?
I mean, I think it's a little different. I don't know if there's the same vibe going across the slate. I actually, I feel like, excuse me, like the national media and like sources that you see around the league are actually pretty optimistic about it. Like I've seen a lot of guys that have been in the NFL a long time, whether it's previous players or analysts or whatever, high or they're high on the guy. They like a lot of what Glenn brings to the table. They've heard a lot of good things about him. They've seen a lot of good of him, in locker rooms and such. Usually I feel like that's a pretty good sign. But then when you kind of phase over to the fan base, there's some split, there's some mixed reviews and so on and so forth. You're always going to have that. I think generally there's some optimism, but it's kind of like what you put in the poll, man. And guys, answer the poll. It's always fun to get a vibe and a feel what everybody feels like. Um, Cautiously optimistic was a great way to put it. Um, because I feel like I'm probably less optimistic than a lot of people are. But when you put it as cautiously optimistic, I'm like, yeah, yeah, that is exactly where I'm at. Yeah. Um, so I think that's probably if you're gonna clean slate it all across like it or cautiously optimistic is a good way to put it. I want to ask you, um, do you think that the vibes right now with this hire right now with this hire are higher than the vibes were with Sala when we hired him? What do you think?
You know what?
Higher or lower?
I think that they were high at both times. I do feel like this time is a bit higher, um, solely because like you're hitting alumni Jets. You're hitting like people that have said fuck the Jets, I'm never going back. Like you're getting those guys back and optimistic. You're like I feel like it's the perfect hire if you're trying to unify the fan base. Now ours will never be 100% unified, but I think where we were 2 months ago to where we are now, like if a doctor was prescribing us a candidate to hire, I feel like it's Rex Ryan, but it's today, it's relevant. It like what Rex would have given us, similar vibes, like throwback, one from our past, one that was successful here, but like I think it's even better than that, because then with Rex, you had people saying, well, it's been too long. He's been out of the game, and he was a one trick pony. Yeah. Like, so like, I feel like take that Rex model, but like put it on steroids and have it plugged into the NFL right now. And that's Aaron Glenn. But as far as Solo was a prime candidate, I don't know. Like, there's some conspiracy theories out there that Glenn wasn't a prime candidate. I don't believe that. I don't, because for one, so many teams were wanting to interview him. But like, yeah, I would say Solo, the vibes were pretty high. Cautiously optimistic. I feel like this is like that though, because you're getting the nostalgia wrapped up into what Sala gave. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, that makes perfect sense, and that's why it's hard to be upset about it, right? Like, even though, like, I dead set from the beginning, I was a guy that wanted to go with somebody with an offensive background, and I still kind of feel like maybe that was the best way to go, although there weren't a whole lot of options out there. Um, but like, if you're gonna go this route, then you go with a guy that is a top 15, top 20 favorite Jet of all time of damn near everybody in this fucking chat, everybody that's been watching the game, been watching the games, for 20 plus years now, like you and I, like, you know, Aaron Glenn is like, he's a Jet, man. Like, all of us look at him as like, that's somebody. When I saw that he was an assistant, when he was a defensive backs coach with the Saints, I'm like, dude, I hope he does well. You know what I mean? I've been rooting for him since day one. Aaron Glenn is a Jet, and now he's officially once again a Jet. So why? How are you not going to be excited about that? Like,
And
I am excited about it, but I'm tempered because I've been broke down by this
yeah.
team for a long time, and I really wanted an offensive coach because I wanted stability. And I'll get into that a little bit more here in a little bit, but I wanted to see what you had to say back to it.
Well, yeah, I was gonna stop and say something, but I'm already into something else now, because like so many things pop up when I think about this. But like, one thing that I think is being vastly underrated, and that's the fact that he was a hot candidate, but he wanted us. He wanted to come here. Like, you're not getting a guy that is motivated by us, but by other things as well, like their ego, or that they want to take the job because they were an OC. No, this was his dream job. Like, Samini reported that. Like, he's on record saying this year or two ago. We have been a toxic dumpster fire the last few months, and he didn't bat an eye. He still wanted to come here. So, like, I don't think people give enough credit to him for not just saying, you know what, I'll go to New Orleans. Why do this to me? Like, maybe I'll hit the Jets at the tail end of my coaching career. He didn't. He hit it at the most important spot of his career, and he may regret it. Come on, let's be real. But and I don't know if I would have done that had I been him. But the fact that he said, "I'm not scared of that job and all it brings," that to me, that says a lot.
That definitely feels good to hear. To see those type of things. Um, and let's not kid ourselves. It's like you said, he had other options. It's not like you can be a head coach for the Jets or you have to stay a defensive coordinator for the Lions or somebody else. That wasn't it, because there are two teams left in the league that are looking for a head coach right now, and they just happen to be two of the teams that had the most interest in him. I think we he fucked them. Not he, but I think they wanted him. I think that at least for the Saints, I'm almost positive that he was their number one guy. The Cowboys, I think he was at least top three for them. I think us poaching Glenn, poaching might be a bit of a stretch, but us getting Glenn was problematic for their plans. So the guy did have options. So he was a candidate that had interest around the league, and he said, I don't care if they've been a dumpster fire. I don't care if they have the most polarizing quarterback in the history of the NFL under center right now. I'm going to go there. I'm going to build a culture. I'm going to figure it out and turn it around the way that I knew how to do it. From back whenever I was a player, I saw turnarounds. I've been a coach. I've seen and been part of turnarounds. Like, I can do this. And he wasn't scared at all. And he stepped right up to the plate and he pointed like Babe Ruth, pointed to the stands. He said, let's do it.
Called his
So,
shot, man.
yeah.
He
So
called
why
his
not?
shot.
Why not be excited about that?
Facts. I'm excited to it. I know we'll get into it, but like what is obviously key is the fact that his hires have to be on point. And there's a lot of speculation about who they may be, but like what I will say is some of the names that surface I find intriguing. Like, and I think you're hearing so many names because he is that plugged in, he's that connected. I think a lot of people want to be under him. No Diddy. A couple of them literally came out this week. Victor Green, he's willing to, not just willing, but he would die to be on this coaching staff. Another guy that I never dreamed would say this, Wayne Corbett, said the same thing. He said he would knock on his door and try to get a coaching gig. So, like, that's one of the things that attracted him to me as a candidate is that I felt like as much as the players liked him, and we have heard they do, I feel like the coaching candidates and assistants that work with him either in Detroit or at previous spots would be highly interested in joining him in his first head coaching endeavor. I feel like that given the choice, some may lean Johnson, but I feel like they would, if given the choice, I think they'd prefer Glenn. He's just a nicer guy. He doesn't have a writer for doing a job. He just gung ho, man, and maybe a bit naive, but he's also well rounded. He come up through the ranks. He scouted. He can be a mini GM at the head coaching spot. He's been here. He knows the market. He was a part of a 1-win team that went from 1 win to 12 wins in a 2-year span. Like I said, I don't think you could find a doctor that would prescribe any candidate besides this one. And if you were skeptical, like, just get on board now, man. Like, because it's like there's people that are going to be tweeting how many days remaining on his contract. They started it today, like 1,800 days remaining. They're that unhappy with themselves. So, like, don't be that guy.
You have to be. Come on,
bro. Don't be that guy. Like,
you have to give it a shot. You have to give it a shot. And why not do it with a guy that's that was part of our organization several years ago and wanted to come back? That's just, to me, that's a really big thing. And just you mentioned quite a few positives there. One positive that I want to point out is, man, our freaking secondary was dog shit last year, and guys that are just uber talented were just underperforming. And who better to turn that around than a guy that's been back there, right?
you know what? That's one of the top 2 or 3 most exciting things that are on my list of things to watch, and that's what he can do with Sauce and MC2. We have both guys for pretty much the duration of Glenn. Like, and he's not going to be the DC. You got a DC that's going to be doing so. He can take the liberty of maybe coaching one or two DBs privately. Like, I don't know, man. I was down on Sauce this year. I feel like my optimism is much higher on him now with Glenn there. I kind of wish we had DJ Reed, man, because dude knows what being a 5'9" corner. They are cut from the same cloth. So I don't know. Would DJ consider a hometown discount? Probably not. Nah, probably not. But
Well, no.
yeah.
He did seem to say some positive things after the hire on Twitter or X, but
X.
I don't see a world where DJ Reed's coming back, man.
No, and you're right, dude. People came out and they chirped on it, man. And I got a couple of them here. Like Damian Woody's all over it. Jermaine Johnson. Let us know in the chat who else you saw chime in on this hire. But like overwhelming positivity. And let's just stop comparing it to when Saleh was hired, man. Let's look at this in a vacuum. This team was not. There was not much to be excited about. This week, there is. So let's just take the win. We don't have to microanalyze well, Quinnen said the same thing when Saleh was hired. So he's just, how much can you buy into it? Like, stop. I know we're going to get into it. Aaron Rodgers stuff, we're going to get into that. But in a standalone vacuum, with as bad as the meddling rumors and all that was going on, honestly, I didn't think we would have any prime candidates interview here. The fact that some did, and the fact that we got Aaron Glenn, I think that's as close to an A as I can give them.
Now, I mean, we did our grades, but I didn't have him as an A. But he was a top. He was a top two. I think he was tied for first. I think on my grades. Like I said, I didn't think that there was a ton of great, like excellent candidates out there. But if you're going to go first time defensive background head coach, this is where you go. Like, this is absolutely where you go. Like, if there's a guy that I'm going to give a chance to, it's him. So, I'm not upset about it. I think that there's reason to be excited. Yeah. I think there's reason to be excited. There's a reason everybody is excited, and I'm hoping for the best. The only reason I pushed and said so much about, like, I want to have an offensive guy and stuff like that is because I mentioned it as stability, right? Like, when you have a good defensive-minded head coach, usually your defense is at least solid. And if they happen to hire a guy that's a good offensive mind and he just has your offensive offense cooking, right? Like if you got like I don't know, Liam Cohen or somebody like that, usually those guys get poached. Is my problem with it. You know what I mean? So even if like he does hire a good staff, let's say we get 2 good years of offense out of I don't know, Nick Caley or somebody like that. And I'm sure we will get into the options of who he's going to hire, here in a little bit. But and let's say the offense is cooking, dude's going to get poached. Can he keep it up? Can he hire another guy in here that's going to keep that momentum rolling? That's why I was so heavy on the offensive thing, because it's so much harder to keep an offensive guy that knows what he's doing in the building than it is a defensive guy.
Sustainable, yeah. Is it sustainable? Is a good OC hire sustainable? And I think the only way you can curb that is by not just getting an OC. You got to get an OC, you got to get a quarterback coach, and you got to get a passing game coordinator. They got to be in sync, all three. And then if the OC leaves, then guess what? One of the other two can be promoted. And I don't know if he's going to have a passing game coordinator, but I sure hope that he does. We have heard names. Mark Brunell is one that I heard For OC, yes, but I also heard just for QB coach and passing game coordinator. So, like, I think if you do get some of these guys in, the key is not just promoting them. If you can get them at a lower spot, that's a home run. Because then you can still have an OC, you know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
uh,
Let me ask you though, like, how willing are you to have your coordinators be first-time coordinators under Glenn?
you know what? I feel like he's been plugged in to the league enough to know who can handle it. And, like, I do feel also that he knows what's at stake. So, I guess my point would be that I would give him the benefit of doubt. Um, but, like, I don't know if I would sign up for a Like, I feel like 2025 is. We're not all in. Like, you can use it to figure some shit out. And I do feel like a lot of people got to adjust their hopes for 2025. But, like, the finances are not going to be there to be all in. So, get the hires right, of course. Get them right the rest of this month. But also, don't be afraid to fix them if you have to, whether it's mid-season, whether it's next spring. Like 2026 and 7, 2026, we're competing for a wild card. 2027, we are in the playoffs. Like, that's got to be the trajectory. 2025 is, I hate to say it, but it's a trial year. 2026, you're competing in every game. 2027, you're winning all the games you're favored in and a couple more. So,
You
I
know what
guess,
a lot of that boils down to?
what's that?
Quarterback.
Yeah,
Because you
true.
can compete instantly if you just happen to land quarterback right, right? Like
Facts.
look at Dan Quinn, Commanders, right? Nobody
Yep.
expected them to go right off the bat, and they're in a NFC Championship game, you know. Uh, so, and then the Texans last year, you know, D'Amico's first year, out of nowhere. Well, they got the quarterback right. Only problem is there's not a lot of options out there for us, right? So yeah, it's looking like 2025 is going to be a trial year.
Um, let's see if I still have it here. Couple things. Eric Allen said that the legendary New York Jets PR head said that he was there for every year of Aaron Glenn as a player. Aaron was one of the smartest players I can remember who ever played for the Jets. Coaches always talked about the hours of film study he put in, which honestly I don't know if Sauce does. So I kind of like hearing this. He put in, which I think helped him have a long career as a DB, especially so since he was only 5'9", 183. But even at that size, he was as tough as nails, sticking his head in there and making tackles, as well as being so quick and smart in his pass coverage. He was a leader and well liked by his teammates. Bring it, dude, bring that. But also, he's only gotten smarter since then. He's only got more known. And I feel like we wouldn't be able to buy some free agents this spring. I do think this helps us. I don't want to glaze too much. It might be too late. But, like, I guess the key is don't expect 10 wins right away. That's all. Unless if you're drafting a quarterback in the first round, different story. But if you're passing, I think you got to adjust your expectations. Some great comments in the chat I want to get to. If you want to add anything, Daniel, feel free.
Yeah, I just want to say that I really enjoy the idea of having a guy that has played before as a head coach. I don't know if there's analytics behind it that say that it's going to be more or less successful or whatever. I just love the idea of a guy leading the team that was, you know, leading a team back in his day. You know what I mean? In a different, way. That to me just feels right.
Yeah, Eddie, welcome to the channel. I've seen you around. I haven't seen you here, so smack that bell, man. Love to have you as a subscriber. We're here every Friday night, and we love the people that engage in the chat because what you guys put down there, your takes, we can definitely talk about. And also, we open the call-in line after the first hour or so as well. So stick around if you're interested in that, or just keep riffing with us, man. Eddie liked the idea of having OC, QB, and passing game coordinator. Can you remember if we've ever even done that? And like, are you married to it too?
Yeah, honestly, I think. Well, yeah, I think you absolutely have to, and you have to get guys in there that know what they're doing, and guys that can all buy in on a system. You know, like the same type of system, and believe that it'll work and implement it correctly. Um, but I think most teams do that. I mean, hell, didn't we do that last year? We had an OC, we had a passing game coordinator, we had a quarterbacks coach. Like, I think most teams do that. But the thing is you gotta get the right guys in there. You know, to where if you lose a guy, he gets like a head coaching opportunity or something like that, you got the next guy up mentality, right?
Facts. Facts. Guys, hit that like button. We actually have our second co host of the Danger Zone live on Fridays. Just got here, so let's see how he's feeling about the hiring of Aaron Glenn. I've been dying to hear from him. Let's see. We got Scott off the grid.
Cheers, boys.
Cheers, Scott. Good to see you, buddy. Good to see you.
Murph's looking in a lot better shape this Friday. I think last Friday was a little worn out. Or was it 2 Fridays ago? I don't know.
I'm always worn out, dude.
Okay, yeah.
Dude, his lighting looks on point. I'll give him that, man. He's got that brownish hue to the room.
Yeah,
Looks
I went
good,
with
man.
like the dull. The light changes, so I went with like the dull, chill, like
Romantic, Murph.
Yeah,
Is that your jet shirt, Murph?
it is.
Hey, looking good. Looking
Right.
good. Scott, you've heard what we've said so far. You want to chime in on what you think?
I'm not as optimistic as you. I'm closer to Murph. I'm not unhappy. Like Murph wanted an offensive guy, I want an experienced guy. So we didn't get that. But yeah, optimistic for sure. But not over the moon about it either. We'll see. He's got to just prove it, and let's hope that happens. Like
Yeah.
you said, like Dane, like you said earlier, something that's really important to me as well as you is he wanted to coach here. It wasn't just it's my shot at a head coaching job. I want to be there. So I do think that's important, having that pride in where you are. So.
What is
Yeah.
wrong with him? Is he crazy?
You know what? I've been saying this, and Johnny and I have talked about it. Man, the coach that succeeds here is going to be the king.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Look how much everyone still loves Rex, and they never even went to a Super Bowl. What
Yeah.
if he gets the Super Bowl?
Yeah.
Murph,
I mean,
what do you think?
Philly threw Doug Peterson out the door after like a year or two after winning the Super Bowl, and we're like,
Yeah.
AFC Championship. He's the best coach ever. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's crazy. Didn't even win the AFC Championship. So yeah, that's. But it's one of those things like the experience thing. Like, everybody's got to start somewhere. I
Yeah.
understand that you didn't want to have somebody start here. But if you want to take the silver lining, he is a very inexperienced guy, if that makes sense. Like, he has been around the league for a long time. He was in the league a long time as a player, and then also as like a coach, like in a scout and everything else. Like, I mean, he's got what 11 years in the league, like after retiring from being a player. Like at least he's not a guy that like just flew up the ranks straight to head coach out of nowhere. You know, I mean, it's something.
Facts.
I'm a serious NFL radio junkie. When I'm on the road, and I spend a lot of time working on the road, that's what I have on the radio. And in the last couple years, they were talking about how most head coaches do better their second opportunity. But that seems like it might be changing a little bit. But that's all. I definitely wouldn't say, oh my God, bad hire. There's probably some opportunities for second time around head coaches that I wouldn't have liked as much as Glenn. So anyway, we'll see.
Yeah, and
Right there.
hey, all of us, cheers, man, cheers. Because honestly, like, I think all of our fan base got smarter, man. They're so plugged in. Like, there used to be like, it used to be an exclusive group that were super fans plugged in every day. Like, you'd have to go to message forums and shit to find your people. Now I feel like it's the average Jet fan is that. Like, so I feel like if you asked most of us in October if we could get a guy that's a top 5 candidate, most people didn't think we'd be able to land 5 interviews, and we landed 20. So we got to give them some credit, and I don't know, man. It might not be. I don't know. Some people wanted Pete Carroll. Some wanted John Gruden. You might not have that, right away, but I feel like going this route, the first timer, it gives you a ceiling that's as high as can be, and he's young, so like you could wind up with a Tomlin that has upside though. I don't know.
He's got a ring. Got to give Tomlin some credit.
Facts.
I know Murph doesn't want to, but got to give him a little.
No, I was all aboard. If Tomlin was available, I was all aboard that train. I think that you don't have a winning season every season that you've ever been a head coach for no reason. Like that doesn't happen by mistake,
For sure. Yeah, I heard today that Saleh might be a candidate for the Cowboys job.
He was heavily considered in Jacksonville.
Do you think if he goes to San Francisco and say they make the playoffs, they win a playoff game even, like he does a good job there is what I'm getting at. Do you think that he'll have more opportunities for head coach next spring? Or do you think if he gets a head coach job, he should jump on it now because it's just, where are you at there? Do you think that it's better to jump right into your second gig, or is it better to take a beat and then start fresh again?
If he could get the Cowboys job, he should take it.
Fair.
49ers, I don't know. We might have seen the best of what they had to offer, and they might be on their way down for a bit. I don't, who knows. But the other thing mentioned is him reuniting with Pete Carroll and being the DC of the Raiders. So that's all the Niners people thought, okay, we're going to get Saleh. Awesome. Now all of a sudden these other 2 opportunities have come out and they're kind of nervous about it.
I mean, I heard that the Niners are going to make him the highest paid defensive coordinator in the league.
I heard the same thing.
But it hasn't happened for sure yet, so it's hard to say. But
So who's holding it up? Is he thinking, I'm going to have some other opportunities here?
Yeah, I mean, I think he's holding out to see about a head coaching gig. He's had a few interviews. It's not just Jacksonville and uh, Dallas. Like the Raiders interviewed him too, and he's had a few interviews. So I think that it's best for him to take the year off as a defensive coordinator and then maybe jump back in those waters. But those opportunities are never just handed out. You know what I mean? Like
Oh,
if you have another opportunity, you should probably just take it.
yeah, and if he takes a DC job somewhere and the defense is bad, he may never get another opportunity.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. I think I think Dallas would be a good gig for him. They're fairly established. They have a lot of talent on that team.
They have the offensive coordinator there already. Um, Assuming he'd want to keep him, it sounds like that would be part of the deal.
Shoddy, old Brian Schottenheimer, dude.
You know,
He might end up being the coach for that team.
well, that's what they were saying. Now they've kind of decided they just want to keep him as an OC. But
Really? Okay, I didn't read that yet, but I
yeah,
saw
but who knows? Who knows what's true and what's not out there? So we'll
who
see.
knows what Jerry Jones is going to do either. That guy.
It'd be funny if he caves into McCarthy and gives him what he wanted and brings him back.
Yeah, I think McCarthy's going to New Orleans.
Yeah, so do I. So do I. It probably maybe I would venture if he goes to New Orleans, it's his last head coaching gig. Call me crazy, but I just don't see that team bouncing back anytime soon. Yeah, did you see my chat, Scott?
It's about time someone noticed that. And it's not a Commanders, it's a Redskins.
You know what? You
It's
said
not-
it, man.
It's not mine. This place, the contractor that's remodeling my house, this is his rental. He's a Redskins fan, so he left the blanket here.
Gotcha.
He did that
I
just
was-
to be a dick.
I was gonna say, I guess we don't even need your pick for later on.
Yeah, it might be a clue. You never know.
Shit. We'll get into that, guys. We have the scores too for how well everyone's been doing. So I'll pull that info. My chat's reloading, but I did see that Clancy asked, and I'm gonna pronounce this right, so don't think I'm. How is everyone feeling about Muji, aka Muj? Thoughts on the potential hiring of Muji at GM?
I don't know. I don't know much about him, but Muji. Yeah.
I'm calling him Moogs because it just sounds good, like good old Moogs. But I'm not going to pretend I know his entire background. I just know that he has flown up the ladder, like over in Denver and stuff. Like he apparently is well respected and he's flown up the ladder. So there's something to be said for that. Maybe the dude is just really talented. Knows the ins and outs of football really well.
How long has he been there?
He's a young dude. I think he's like friggin' 40 or something. Like I don't think he's very old.
Let me read. So I saw this on Discord. Shout out Jake Asman. This was on his one of his people mentioned this, and take it with a grain of salt. But a Broncos fan said this, and like I said, take it how you want to. But they said, I don't know much about Muji, but our current front office has been unreal at drafting at all levels of the draft. Their only 2 firsts have been Surtain and Nix. Their 3 seconds have included 2 All-Pros. They've got an All-Pro in the 3rd round, a 10-plus sack guy in the 7th, and a ton of quality starters and that was in the last 4 drafts. On top of that, they've also knocked free agency out of the park the last couple years. If Muji had legitimate input and weight in these decisions, which if we're hiring him, then I'm going to say he probably did, then he'd be a slam dunk hire. All-pro in the 3rd round, 10-plus sack guy in the 7th, and then goes on to say, this is from Joe, he says, I think Mr. Bonesy will have a new crush pretty soon.
I love that.
It was a good comment, but
Shout out to
the
Dolphins, dude.
majority of that came from Reddit, from a Broncos fan. Take it with what you will, but I'm sure if you look at their drafts, they have been decent. Who gets credit? That's a whole another argument.
Well, it's not one person. There's scouts. There's, they talk about it. Maybe it's one person that makes the final decision, but a lot of people contribute.
Well, so I will say I just did a little Google search myself, and he is, as an executive, he's been in the league since 2012, and he's been with the Broncos the entire time. He has been heavy in pro personnel and scouting the whole time. Like, he started as a scouting intern, and then it was personnel and scouting assistant, college and pro personnel scout, area scout, assistant director of college scouting, director of player personnel, and then assistant general manager. He has been heavy into the drafting of players, the scouting process, things like that. So if you want a guy that can find you some talent, I would say that might be that might be a guy. He is only 39 years old. As a GM, I feel like that's pretty wild.
Is he the guy that they said went from an area scout to what he is in like 3 years or less? Like he shot up the promotion chart.
Yeah, he went. Okay, so area scout was 2015 to 2019, and then assistant GM 2022. So 2019 to 2022, we went, yeah. He, like I said, he flew up the rankings, man. He was a player, but he wasn't. He was a wide receiver. He's 6'6", 230, which looking at a picture of him, I wouldn't think so. But he was
His arms, dude.
He was like a scout team and stuff like that as a player for a couple years for the Falcons. So
does anybody
player, but apparently he's got the mind.
And that, I don't mind doing that. I really wanted Dimitrov because he'd done it, but at the same time, if you can capture lightning in a bottle, it can blow up in your face, but like, I'm to the point where let's just freaking do it, man, because it's going to take lightning in a bottle. I really do think, like, we've made good hires and them just not ever pan out, so like, let's just take a crack at it, man. I was so close to checking out anyway, so let's buy the lottery ticket. Guys, Clancy's wondering, he thought it was official that Mooj was GM. Do you care to share why we're a little hesitant to say that?
I haven't heard that it is. I saw Clancy just said Dallas. Where is it? Dallas hired their OC. I think he said that.
Well, the only one that's reported it is Jacina Anderson.
Yeah.
Nobody else is
credible source, to be fair,
Yes. That's the reason why we're not saying it yet, because it hasn't been confirmed by any of the main guys. But it also hasn't been refuted either. So I think they're probably just letting the ink dry.
Yeah.
DB94, welcome, brother.
I mean,
there's a good guy to ask about Broncos stuff right there.
Yeah, that's true. My thoughts on whether it's legit or not, get this freaking cat out of my way, is that I would say, like, because Connor Hughes said that he reached out to people in the know based on our second round interview GMs, all three of them, and all of them told him like, yeah, we don't know yet if we were hired, if he was hired or not. Speaking on each of the guys, and so I would say that Josina probably has a source in the Jets facility, even though they've been pretty tight-lipped about it. She probably has a source in there, and that source is saying like, "Hey, we're pretty sure this is the guy we're going with," but he probably hasn't fully like you said, the ink hasn't dried yet. They haven't decided they're going to release it yet.
Facts. Um, Speaking of which, Aaron Glenn's press conference will be Monday at 1 o'clock. Let's hope that we have something by then. I don't know if they'll put the two guys together, for that, or if they'll give them each their own presser. But I think we'll know. We just, again, like I said, fans are so plugged into this team that we want to know, and we want to know now. So, yeah, it is what it is. But
interesting. Hey, interesting that the possible other guy from Detroit was a no-go. I mean, it seemed like if they hire Glenn, well, I can't remember what his name was now. Then guess it doesn't matter now. But yeah, he must have really turned the Jets off, or maybe Glenn didn't really like him. I don't know. That was interesting that they just bailed on him pretty quick.
are you talking about the guy from Washington that was in Detroit then went to
yeah. The guy went from Detroit to Washington, and then
Newmark,
right?
Yeah. I wonder if he didn't. Either Glenn said something like, "Hey, there's a couple other guys I want you to look at," or he said something about Newmark. Maybe he didn't like him, or maybe Newmark just bombed himself. I don't know, but something changed.
That sure seems that way. But the other option is they could still hire him, I guess. But it seemed like it was going to happen. Both those guys, boom, boom, and they're off and running. So that was interesting.
Maybe the fact that Newmark is still in the running, maybe that seems to say that, one could say maybe Glenn just wanted him to look at a couple other guys. I don't know, But, Glenn, Daniel, what do you think?
It's hard to say what the hell's going on in that building. You could have the Johnson brothers having a fist fight right now over Lance Newmark and Darren Muji. Who knows? I hope that they hire somebody, and I would lean more towards Muji than Newmark. I hope they hire him over the weekend and have him in here by Monday, and they just do the press conference together and give us something to get all hyped up about. So Dane, I wanted to get you and Scott's opinions on who do you like. We'll start we'll just do one at a time. We'll start with the spicy one. Who do you guys want for offensive coordinator? Just give me a name or two and tell me why.
You know what? It's funny. I feel stronger about the defensive coordinator hire.
I had a feeling of that. That's why I saved it to last.
But and that's partly because of who were rumored to be hiring. I like that he's been a head coach and he's done a good job as a head coach. He did a real good job in Carolina, and then they didn't even consider him. But sorry, Murph, I kind of got the cart ahead of the horse there.
It's okay. Do you have a guy that I know that you may not know everything about these candidates that have been mentioned and things like that? None of us really do, but I'm sure you've read a little here or there. Is there a guy that kind of makes your ears twitch a little bit? You're like, that sounds interesting.
I kind of like the idea of Brunell. But yeah, I don't know. That's probably not what most of Jet Nation wants to hear.
I think a lot of Jet Nation loves the idea of Brunel. Like I love the idea of Brunel, but I don't know if Brunel's going to be a good coordinator. Like none of us have an idea about that. But
Well, I think everyone wants McCown, right? But now you're hearing the
same
rumors
thing with him.
he's not going anywhere unless he gets a head coaching job.
You gonna take any more answers?
Hit us, Dane. Tell me. Shots all over the
I was
place.
waiting. He said Brunel, and I was thinking, well, McCown, number one for sure. But like, you're right. We don't know. The only way you know is if it's the same job they just did. So like, I'll take Brunel right now for passing coordinator, QB coach. McCown, I'll do the same thing. But like McCown, I'm willing to say, yeah, I'll take you for OC. Like, best case scenario, we have both. And McCown's OC, Brunel's underneath him. McCown will certainly leave in the spring. And then Brunel is next up. But, like...
Can we technically give McCown an upgrade to his position by calling him the assistant OC or something like that? You know? Yeah, like can we do something like that? All
what
right.
about Kubiak?
If he's getting head coach interviews...
That's where I'm going. I'm going. Well, actually, Kubiak's probably my number two. And I'm not sure if it's the last name that's driving me there, because there's been a couple successful Kubiaks in the league, especially on the offensive side of the ball. I think I like Kaylee the most. I'm intrigued by what McVay does down there with the Rams.
You mean Todd Haley, of course.
No.
I know, Murph.
Get GTFO, Scott, with that. No, Kaylee. I like, and he's not a tight end, and he's a tight ends coach, passing game coordinator. So like he's kind of, what I mean, like he's very in depth with the passing and stuff. So I think that a guy that's been down there learning for a little while off of McVay, that's always an intriguing option to me. I like Shanahan, man. I like the system that Shanahan does or whatever, but McVay, he's a little different about it. He tends to run a little more 11 personnel and stuff. That's a little closer to my heart. I know, Scott, you're probably a big tight end guy, so maybe you want 12 or whatever. But I like what McVay's done down there over the years, man. He always seems to make it work, and it's not just passing too. He always has a good run game, man. Like, and these running backs, they come out of nowhere. Like, I don't know. There's guys that I'd never heard of before, and then they got 1,200 yards under, in that system, and I'm like, what the hell? But I'm intrigued by Kaylee. That's the guy for me. If not him, then I like Kubiak. I understand the wants for Brunel and McCown because I love those guys. Hell, I loved watching Brunel passing down there in Jacksonville. Back in the day, the old lefty. I love me and my lefties. But and then McCown gave us one of our better quarterback years. And he was just always a stand-up guy. So I'm always rooting for him too. But realistically, if I'm looking for success, I'm looking towards Kaylee or Kubiak.
Those are the names too, right? Like, it seemed like McCown has shifted away, and then Kaylee and Kubiak are rising up. But yeah, I mean, sign me up for either one. Like, I just don't want to have to take like couple more weeks getting them, because then that means, okay, maybe it's not the first, second, third choice, like Eddie said, like, you should hire him yesterday. And not that it means they need to end up building, it just means like it gives you confidence that we got our guy. Am
Yeah,
I crazy? Yeah.
time to get to work.
Yeah, I wonder. I just wonder like how many guys like from where Aaron Glenn is going to like poach guys from. Like, is it going to be guys that he's coached with a lot, or just guys that he just knows from being around the league, or you know what I mean? Because like I don't know if he really has any connections to Kaylee, or but like is he going to be poaching guys from you know Peyton's system down there because him and Peyton worked together in New Orleans for a while, so he might know a few of the guys on his staff. I'm curious to see how he goes about this. Is he going to go with the guys he knows, or is
Well,
he
You know
going
what?
to
that's
dive into
part of
those waters?
that's part of my thing with Brunell, because maybe they have a very good relationship, but then again, maybe they don't. If they don't, then he won't hire him. And it sure sounded like Brunell would be open to it unless he could stay in Detroit as OC, which doesn't appear that job will be opening now, right? So, but Kubiak seems like a good, you know, who's to say who's a good choice and who's a bad choice until we see him out there doing it?
Yeah. Well, Kubiak, he's done it a year or two, so he does have a little bit
Yeah,
of experience. It's kind of funky how he got his opportunities or whatever, but Kaylee hasn't. So I guess Kaylee's a little bit of the waters that you haven't dove into yet. So I
yeah.
don't know. I just kind of I like that system. Like I said, I'd be fine with either guy.
Well, I think the point you're trying to get across, and I would try to articulate it, but to be honest, I read something similar earlier, and I just want to state it. It's from Michael Nania, and it's about Kaylee, and I agree with it 100%. Let me know if you guys do as well. Nania said, if we do hire Kaylee, Glenn will have already checked one huge box that plagued Salah's tenure: not falling into nepotism. As far as Nania can tell, Glenn and Kaylee have never worked together. Seems like Glenn is looking for the best candidates with no regard for hiring his pals. Maybe that's why Newmark, maybe the 33rd and Woody were trying to marry them. And maybe Glenn's like, wait a minute. But regardless, Kaylee, do you think I mean, it's kind of what Murph just spoke of, and that's being the best candidate for the job. But do you think that it matters if Glenn knows the OC or not?
Well, I don't think you can minimize a coach knowing how another coach operates. I mean, just to make that unimportant is ridiculous to me. Doesn't lessen the other guy's abilities, but knowledge is power, right?
Yeah.
100%.
I mean, I understand like if you know the coach, like if you've worked with him before, then you understand how he works, and if he works with the way how you want to approach your team and how you want to game plan and things like that. But also like you're the head coach. You're the damn head coach. So like you get a guy in there and you say like, "Hey, you're going to build this system like and I'm going to let you build it the way you want it or whatever as long as you follow like I want to be a run first team or whatever it may be, just like whatever. But like you follow these very basic guidelines and you build the system how you want to build it to fit those guidelines, and we're good. And you're going to game plan this way because this is how we're going to do it as a team. You just make that clear when you hire the guy. So like, and if he doesn't like it, don't take the job, dude. Like, so I don't see that being that big of a deal to me, whether you know the guy or not. Um, so Scott, I know you got a little you want to touch on it, dude. Tell me, is it you talking about Wilkes?
I want
D.C.?
Wilkes, man,
Tell me why. Why do you want Wilkes?
because he's kind of a no nonsense guy. He builds a good defense, and he's got head coaching experience. And I think it's important to have someone on the staff that does.
Okay.
And
You've
he's
been preaching that
he's
experience.
he's kind of a red ass. I think the Jets need that.
Okay. Does what happened with him in San Francisco, does that deter you a little bit, or what do you think?
What happened with him in San Francisco? Besides Shanahan found another scapegoat. They were eighth in the league in
that's what it
defense.
was?
They were third in. He fires people every year after they don't win. It might be the quarterback. It might be the defensive coordinator. Did it again this year. I think he got a raw deal in San Francisco, to be honest with you, and then also in Carolina when he took over as an interim and they played their asses off. Anyway, so I don't know that I'd hire him as a head coach, but I think he's a great DC candidate.
It sure sounds like the key, and whether it's in a formal capacity or just a personal capacity, but it sounds like Glenn is going to have plenty of guys willing to be sounding boards for him. Just sounds like he has an army of advice at his disposal. He's got Bill Parcells that he talks to weekly. It's just it's good to see, man. And I know Saleh was, like I said, Saleh was well liked too. If you're trying to compare this hire to Saleh, the only thing I ask is that you compare it to 2021 Saleh, when he still had energy, he still had enthusiasm, but trying to
sucked it out of him.
yeah, dude, people were trying to compare it like we're running it back. That's not the same, because Saleh in 2024 was already beaten, bruised, and scarred, and yes, that's a Metallica song, but compare it to the lively, outgoing, bubbly, intense Saleh. And to me, I'm not opposed to having that back. It's not just, let's just do it again. We've already tried this, because I think we're trying it through a new lens with a guy who has nice leg there, Scott.
Well, Johnny was asking if I was wearing pants.
Who he's not a one-trick, like Saleh was a bit of a one-trick pony when you compare him to Glenn. Glenn, like we talked about, scouted. He's spent the last 30 years in the league, man. Let's just be honest. He's been in the league for the last 31 years, minus 2 that he was in real estate. So, sorry, I had to vent there a little bit, but we got some.
I gotta know, is there any other candidates for DC? Do you know of anybody else that they've considered? Anybody that you like that's out there on the market? What do you think?
I don't. Literally everyone who
I've only heard Wilkes. That's it.
Yes, and that to me screams that he's just got the job. They're just waiting to announce it all at once.
Why are they waiting?
I don't know. I mean, they don't even really have to report it right now, do they? I think they're trying to get GM, and they're just Glenn. Today was the first day Glenn was in the building as head coach of the Jets. The first day. And it's Friday, and now they're probably just gonna announce it during the press conference, to be honest. Maybe it'll leak out Monday morning. But
I'd be a little concerned if there's a couple jobs out there still floating around.
What about Ron Middleton? You want Ron Middleton? Or who do we have in-house that is still floating around?
I would very much like him to retain Tony Oden as a cornerbacks DB's coach. I do think Tony Oden's a good coach. I understand the secondary did kind of fall apart this past year, but everything kind of fell apart this past year. So I think he gets the mulligan. I think he did an excellent job with us. I'd like to see them keep him.
Speaking of assistant coaches, we did officially lose one of the highest ones I wanted to retain. We lost him today, going to join Ulbrich down in Atlanta, and that's Rutenberg. Rutenberg, I think it's Rutenberg, but regardless, a lot of people are now connecting Jamie and Sherwood to Atlanta instead of the Jets. What say you about the prospect of losing Sherwood?
It'd be shitty.
Yeah.
Him.
Yeah. I mean, there's no other way to put it. That would suck.
Yeah.
Can they take Mosley instead? Don't tell Hazel I said that.
Oh yeah. Hope Hazel's not watching.
You
And
said
I love
you.
Mosley, but he's older, man. Come on.
Well, here's the like. You're only saving like 3 or 4, I think 4 million if Mosley walks. If he's healthy, I think he could be an asset to building a new defense. But the thing is, what Mosley are you getting? Are you getting 2024 Mosley? Or are you getting 2023 Mosley? But we're paying him 10 million regardless. So that's where it's like, if he does stay for a year for us to transition, you got to have a guy under him, and don't give him 99% of snaps like you did in 2023.
Yeah, dude. If you're going to do it, there's no way you can. You got to dial it back. He's got to be like almost like a part-time starter. You know. No, like I would not even give him. I would only give him no more than like 45% of the snaps. As crazy as that might be to say, like strictly first and second down. Like yeah.
Hey, let's not lose focus here. We got to keep Sherwood in the house.
How do you?
Money. I know. Dane's the money guy here.
Yeah.
How much you willing to pay him? And Ulbrich might just say, "Hey, we got to pay this guy. He's a player." And I have no idea what Atlanta has at linebacker.
They have a hole at linebacker.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go. So
Yeah.
it might not be too easy to keep him, but money makes people happy places they may not be happy. Or
You got to be careful too. Like if Sala takes a DC position, or
Yeah.
hell, even a head coaching position somewhere, he might be trying to snipe him too.
Yeah. We're lucky that more key guys, I should say, aren't expired. Like, there's only a few pieces that they can poach right now. And you keep a guy in this with Glenn for 1 year, their tune may change whether they want to leave after that. So, do we lose a Sherwood? Probably, maybe. Lose a Reed, Conklin, I don't know. But you have an AVT.
well,
And AVT will be with Glenn for 1 year. That might be all it takes. Just show him what life is like. AKC. And that's after Keith Carter.
Yeah. Sulla can have some of the ex-49ers he had to have here back. Let them go with him.
Yeah, I mean, if he really insists on taking Isaiah Oliver, okay.
Well,
If he
Yes.
Kinlaw, there you go.
Yeah, there you go.
Golly.
Yeah, so I there's no reason to really talk about special teams coordinators because I don't think any of us have a fucking clue about any candidates. Banjo, I guess this dude plays a banjo. I don't know. If he does that really well, then I'm
Rizzy.
sure he can probably figure out that Gibson's not a good punt returner.
Oh God, been
Maybe
another year of that.
Well, when it comes to specials, I have heard. I know Dylan Terraman. His prediction yesterday was Rizzy at special teams. I don't know. But I do know that we'll have Mike Westoff willing to join us in the spring for camp. Not to be our coordinator, but just in the building helping out. So that's
There's
cool.
nothing wrong with that. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
So that is cool. If you're in the chat, welcome. Smash the like button. Hit subscribe. Submit some comments. My studio is being an idiot right now, but I do have a separate laptop here that I can see your comments on. I may not have them on the screen, but I can read them. If you ask us any questions, I can verbalize them. JT, I see you're down there. The link is pinned now. If you guys, like I said, come up 5 minutes, tell us what you think of the hire, man. We would love to be sounding boards for y'all.
Hey, so I see JT said in the chat, God, my eyes must be decent tonight. I can actually read it. It says Sala is DC of San Francisco. Is that a prediction, or did that actually just happen in the last couple hours?
That it's been all over Twitter. They're saying it's going to happen, but it has not happened yet. It's kind of like how we are with our GM thing.
Well, the next comment he said is he saw it official 15 minutes ago, and I don't know.
Oh.
Yeah, I don't.
Okay, I'll have to look.
I'm focused on the danger zone, so
yeah.
I wouldn't know what's happening in the rest of the world right
Dude,
now.
I got 2 laptops going. I got Here, look at NYJ Matt said Sala with the Niners versus Sala with the Jets.
The smile must be the Niners.
Yeah.
You guys need me to sing 99 bottles of beer on the wall while you check X or whatever it is you young check out these days?
That's all you.
Okay, yeah. Hey, ESPN was the one that tweeted it 6 minutes ago. San Francisco 49ers have named Robert Saleh their new defensive coordinator. So
yeah, it's so funny. Rumors
Shout out JT. Shout out.
Yeah. Rumors start about him going other places, and the Niners get it done.
And then the Cowboys, Adam Schefter, said that the Cowboys had hired Brian Schotty as their head coach.
Yeah, Clancy said that in the chat earlier.
Yeah. So, and they're talking about Eberflus being their defensive coordinator down there. So the pieces are falling. The dominoes are falling, which means Glenn needs to get at it on hiring his staff, man.
Yeah, no kidding. So the Saints are the last ones?
I believe so, yeah.
Just a second here. I wanted to highlight real quick for those who do know Brian Schottenheimer but can't quite place him. This is his resume. He was here with Rex as the offensive coordinator through the 2011 season. Was pretty much an offensive coordinator straight all the way up / passing game coordinator. And then he joined Dallas in 2022 as a consultant. Then he won 12 games that year. Then he became their OC, won 12 again. Then he won only 7. And now you're saying what? That he became head coach, or he's going to?
He is.
Yeah, he got the job.
That's wild, man.
Which is so crazy that I just heard a few hours ago that Dallas wanted to leave him at OC, but he can't believe any of this crap we hear.
Dude, I could win 7 games if you give me CeeDee Lamb and you just dump it off to him like they do all the time. Dude gets 20 targets a game, all under 10 yards, but he goes for 120 because of the yak. Insane. If I were them, I would have tried like hell to get Dion.
Yeah, the Saints are still the only team with no head coach. I just checked Saints Twitter, and there's still just people talking speculation. Mike McCarthy.
Have they interviewed anybody?
Joe Brady. Only a couple people that I know of, McCarthy being one of them.
I don't know. McCarthy would probably be a sweaty mess down there in Louisiana. That humidity.
Maybe they're waiting on Joe Brady or something. They interviewed Rizzy, of course, because that was their interim. Um, but they're not likely to keep him, I wouldn't think.
No.
Sala, they interviewed Sala, but that's obviously out the window. Yep, they're the last ones waiting to do it.
Sean, welcome to the chat. I see you there, brother. He said, "What's up, fellas? How about that 33rd team giving us options we wouldn't have without them? I get they helped Washington. I hope it pans out. It just seems weird so far. Just my opinion." Do you think that the search was all just a sham because any one of us could have pointed to Glenn a month ago? Like, where are you at with the job that the 33rd team has done so far?
Did the Jets need the 33rd team to think they liked Aaron Glenn? I mean,
No.
No, it's not necessary, but that's something that Woody Johnson's always done. He's always needed like a group of people that have been in the NFL for a while, around the NFL for a while, to hold his hand through any hiring process. Like he's scared to death to make his own decision, I think, but it is what it is.
well, but maybe their role will be more important for the GM.
I think so too. I do think that they're way more useful when it comes to finding GM candidates rather than head coaching candidates, because every Tom, Dick, and Harry that's sitting on their couch like knows like who the hot names are for head coaching candidates. Like even us fucking clowns know, several beers deep. Like, hey,
Yeah.
Aaron Lynn's not a bad idea, is he? Or whatever. But
and I've never heard of Moogly Googly.
yeah, exactly. I'm not going to sit here and bullshit you. I didn't know who the hell Darren Muji was or whatever.
Bougie Mougie.
Yeah, before all this happened. So,
Hey Scott, I see. I got a comment down here for you if you want to read it aloud.
Go ahead and read it.
Okay, it's from.
Go ahead and read it.
All right. It's from DB94. He says, "Scott, thanks for recommending this channel. Conversation is fire."
I try to spread.
Hell yeah. Thanks, man.
Work of the people.
These are my two co-hosts. Anytime they have time to, you'll see them on, because I get awkward when I'm left alone, and you also can't trust me with scissors. So, but yeah, we definitely, dude. This is what you're getting 9 times out of 10, man.
I need a refresher.
Yeah,
Glass bottle.
After I drink this.
Dude, what does that sound like in your trash bag when you're hauling it out?
I recycle, Dane. Come on, you're in Oregon. You must recycle now also.
I was going to say, do you have a choice in Colorado?
Nah, dude.
You throw a can in a trash can, and like there's like some like fucking, I don't know.
No, this is not California, dude. Colorado's kind of in the middle.
Really?
Yeah, I mean it's a little left of center, but it's very population-wise, numbers-wise, it's pretty even. Which I don't want to get into politics here, but to me, that's more healthy than being way right or way left. Kind of in the middle is
Absolutely
healthier place to be. Anyway,
I lean common sense, man. Like
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Dude, it's crazy though. Like in Oregon, like coming from PA to Oregon. In PA, you'll see like just driving down the highway, you'll see dead deer carcasses and shit every mile or two. You'll see like splatter. in Oregon, they actually like have people tasked with cleaning it up and shit. It's just wild. Two different worlds, man. Two different worlds for sure.
Almost like they care about their state over there. Yeah.
Facts.
I think people will harvest the deer that are hit as long as they can get them in time too. Some
Yeah.
states it's illegal to do. I think in
Facts.
Oregon it's legal to
Harvest
recycle
roadkill.
roadkill, so to speak.
Yeah.
Here's a question from Sean in the chat. He says he kind of feels like we did miss on Borgonzi. What do you guys think of Borgonzi? Like, do you think that we swung and missed there? Where are you at with that?
I don't know. Once again, there's another guy that I don't know a whole lot about. You know,
Fair.
it's like Moogly Googly. I know who George Payton is. I've never heard of this guy, but it sounds like from what one of you was saying, his background, I think it was Murph. If he was in, player evaluation, college player evaluation, he's done a pretty damn good job.
Yeah, and Dane brought up like that, that Reddit post and stuff about how well they've drafted and things like that over the years. He seems to have a solid resume. Borgonzi, here's the thing about it: if you hire Andy Reid and you end up drafting a gem like Patrick Mahomes, it's going to make you look good. Now, I'm not going to sit here and say that he's not good because of those reasons, but I'm not going to sit here and say that he is good, because of those reasons either. So to me, Borgonzi is almost more of a question mark. Like, you don't know one way or another than a guy like Muji, right? Because Muji, like, the background is solid. It's just scouting, player personnel. Like, it's all the way down the board, and the dude just flew up the rankings on a team that's done relatively well in those aspects. So Borgonzi, it's like, let's ride Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid's coattails for till the end of time, and the refs, of course.
Okay, I was gonna bring that up if you didn't, Murph.
Yeah. So, I mean, what can you take from that guy? One way or the other. I'm not saying that the guy's, he could be a hell of a fucking GM for all I know, but
Right. You have to be plugged in. You have to be in the league circles to really know. But what I like about Muji, I'm just gonna say Muj. I don't know, because I did watch some interviews earlier from Broncos, and they do call him Muj. But what I saw was that a lot of their here, let me just mute Scott real quick. Okay. A lot of their GM press conferences and GM interviews he was with him. Like, like we would see that occasionally with Joe Douglas. He would bring Savage or Hogan even in with him, but like it seemed like way more frequently Patton would be with Muj. So again, like the Reddit guy said, the pudding is there to find proof in, but also like when you're going out in pressers with the guy and you're letting him speak and field questions as well, because they were like alternating, I don't think he's just a name on a sheet of paper. He's not just a pretty face sitting there. So it's promising. None of us know, but like what you can glean is good. And you know what else I'd like to add is that Glenn was mentored by Peyton, right? At some point. This guy is also coming from a franchise with Sean Payton. So that's two connections to Sean Payton. Is it a coincidence? I mean, maybe they don't know each other, but the fact that they're both coming from like working in or around Peyton, I think that's not nothing. Let's say that.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds to me like they were grooming that guy for a GM position, whether it was like after what's his name, Peyton, or whatever. Um, After he's
Patton.
gone, it was I can't, yeah, whatever his name is, I forgot. Um, After he's gone, or maybe they were just trying to do the guy a favor, and they're like, hey, we recognize this dude's a talent, let's prepare him for the best, to get him, put him in the best position possible. Um, that's not something you see all the time. So I think that is something. There's something to be said there. I think that was a good point, Dane. You muted Scott,
Oh yeah, thank you.
Hey,
I think.
All
I
right.
don't blame you, Dane. Some of the shit that comes out of my mouth,
Speaking of pretty faces,
we can't all be beautiful. Um, you know, I'm. This guy's resume looks pretty impressive. I'm kind of surprised. Maybe the Broncos didn't think, "Hey, let's keep this guy around. Let's cut George Payton loose and elevate him." I mean, George Payton is a guy that wanted Hackett, which, of course, they expected Rodgers to come with it, but miscalculation. And he's also the guy that did the deal for Russ. So, anyway,
yep, that's exactly what DB Denver Broncos 94 said. He said George Patton, I think it's two T's, so it's Patton, but he's the dipshit responsible for Russ Wilson getting a massive. So like, yeah, he obviously a deal like that is the GM. So yeah, you're right. It is. I don't know. Maybe it's a known commodity versus an unknown, but like, yeah. I
What
don't
a
know.
panic move that was, by the way.
yeah,
Because, like Scott said it, like they had their eyes on Rodgers, man. That's the whole reason they hired Hackett. And whenever Rodgers didn't leave Green Bay, they just panicked and they were like, "Oh shit, okay, Russell Wilson, let's pay him out."
it
What
was literally the next day, I think,
yeah,
after
yeah.
Rodgers signed with Green Bay.
Oh man,
And what they gave up for him, man, one of the worst trades in NFL history.
Uh,
hopefully we have a that picture, but like updated here in a year or two, and he's holding a Lombardi. Wouldn't that be something?
That would be something. King of the world if that happens.
Oh yeah,
At least king of New York.
for sure, for sure.
So I've
Yes.
heard that guy's name pronounced Peyton rather than Patton. I don't just
okay, I
FYI.
stand corrected. Good to
FYI,
know.
I don't know. DB could probably confirm or deny that, but
There we go.
did he just win the gold medal on the '68 Olympics?
He just won the Lombardi for the Jets.
He just won the Jets job.
You young, you
Poor
young
guy.
probably have no idea what I'm talking about.
Say it again. I didn't even catch it. What did you say?
I said, did he just win the gold medal at the '68 Olympics? There's a
Oh.
famous photo of the guys on the platform with it was like a Black Power thing,
I know the image, and now that you mention it, I thought you were
Something
gonna
like that.
say. I thought you were gonna say Bruce Jenner crossing the. Never mind. This will go off the rails.
Nip.
Cross
All right.
dressing across the line.
R.I.P. Bruce. But Scott, Sean said that you're beautiful.
Yep, I do.
JT, again, welcome. You're always lively in the chat, and you share your own takes, and they're unique, and that's the best. He thinks we can be a threat, however you want to figure that out. We can be a threat within 2 years.
I think we can be a threat next year.
Fair. it's going to be our biggest problem is finances right now. But what I do want to share, I shared it with you gentlemen earlier, but this is compliments of the Pat McAfee show. The graphic, that is. The info is public knowledge, but the salary cap, man, it's going up every year. Last year, or I'm sorry, okay, 2025 is on there. They're expecting it to go up another 20 million. So, knowing that, does, like, say you got 20 million to blow, is, like, who is your number one person to get? Is it a free agent? Maybe a bridge quarterback? Is it a Sherwood? Is it a 41-year-old Aaron Rodgers? Like, I'm not asking you to compete in 2025. I'm just talking about maybe helping Aaron Glenn establish what he wants to in 2025, win some games, but also like what do you think is the smartest acquisition if you had to do just one, knowing that we are getting extra money?
And you're including like Sherwood, for example. You're calling him an acquisition since he's a free agent.
I am, yeah.
Well, I'd want to look at a list of free agents, which I off the top of my head don't know. But I'd love to keep Sherwood around. Young,
If he's
linebacker.
Yeah, well, where are you at with him? Like, if he's 15 million, is he worth that? Like, or is he just like Jet worth that?
Well, if he's gone and Mosley's done, how are we going to be in the linebacker core?
Still got Quincy. That's something.
For another year.
Yeah. See, it makes sense to sign Sherwood because, like, you'll have one more year of both of them, and then Quincy's gone, and you can try to replace Quincy, and you still got a couple years leeway, and then eventually, like, you want to stagger them,
Yeah,
So it would make sense to sign Sherwood, but I think the biggest thing that you have to do to help Glenn is find a wide receiver too, whether it's bringing back Devontae or finding another guy on the market or drafting a guy.
McMillan, baby.
Yeah, that McMillan dude, he's legit. Yeah, I've watched a little bit of this stuff. I haven't done I'm not Dom C over here with the deep dives, but I just from what I've seen of McMillan, I like his game for sure.
Hell
Well,
yeah.
if Adams is gone, that's a weak ass receiver room they're going to have. They have to upgrade it. So
we got Lazard.
Oh God, do we have to have this conversation again? I already almost burned my house down. Well, how much would you pay Higgins? I personally think he gets hurt too much to pay that guy that much money.
He's going to command a lot, though.
Yeah. We don't have that kind of money, unfortunately. Like, I don't even know if we can make one premium sign, to be honest. It depends. Like, obviously Reddick's coming off the books. Obviously Devontae's coming off the books. Rodgers. Now, are any of those guys going back on the books? That changes things too. Like,
Rodgers and Adams could be with an adjusted, salary, of course.
Facts.
But boy, they're one goodbye away from a really weak receiving core. Really weak.
What? Okay, just to play devil's advocate, what if I said, who cares? Our offense is already going to be shit. I want to spend the money on the D, build that, and then the wide receiver that you covet can come in with the quarterback the following year.
Who you what do you mean by the receiver we covet? McMillan?
Like what if I'm the GM and I said you don't get another wide receiver this spring? You're gonna get him next spring, and I'm gonna devote the little money and resources I have toward the D. Like, what is the route? Is what I'm getting at. Do you want to be mid all over? Do you want to sprinkle the little we have in strengthening strengths? Like, because we can get a wide receiver, but then we lose another defensive piece, and then our D is mid, and our offense is a little, like, that's where I'm getting at. Like, if we're faced at Abdul Carter and Tet McMillan in the draft, what should we do? Should we, like, what would Glenn do, I guess?
I want to say that if you have talent spread out throughout the team, good coaching should take you far, right? So like if you're so focused on just the defense, like the good coaching is only going to do so much for that offense, right? I think if you have talent spread across the board, yes, I know injuries can kind of fuck it up a little bit, but good if you have guys in there that know what they're doing, they build solid game plans, they can take you far. Like it's similar to like a Denver Broncos was last year. I think good coaching took them further than what they were supposed to go.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, made a big difference.
Like they have talented pieces, here and there around the roster, right? Like I don't think anybody's going to deny that, but they're not just like absolutely loaded all over the place. But I think the coaching took them into the playoffs, performing well, like,
They don't have as much talent as the Jets.
probably not.
I see what you're saying, though. You're saying if you gotta let Sherwood walk to, like, you're just saying be even, regardless of if you're evenly good or if you're even like mid. You don't want to stack one side and then the next spring stack the other. You would rather just have it even the whole way, basically.
Because it's really hard. Like if you stack one side and then you try to stack the other, that other side very likely is going to drop a little bit, and then you're just playing this teeter totter. Why not just have solid talent around the roster and let your coaching do what it's supposed to do?
Big fella chimed in. He said he would be interested in Chris Godwin. What do you guys think of him?
I saw that he said that, and I swear he typed that in like 10 seconds after I was thinking about that, because I was trying to think of a receiver that we could get off of somebody, like maybe that's going to be a free agent. And I thought about Godwin. He gets injured a lot, and his skill set, I feel like, is kind of similar to Garrett, in a way. So at first, even though I'm like, ooh, Godwin, then I thought about it a little bit more, and I'm like, I want more of like the T. Higgins type to put there to pair with,
I do.
which that guy you guys were talking about in the draft, McMillan, he would be a great fit.
He would, though. Like, we're not just like,
would.
if you haven't seen Ted McMillan, guys, like you're gonna see him the combine. Just watch him because he catches everything. He is. I don't know. I don't want to comp him. I have privately with you guys, but I don't think that's fair.
Okay, Dane, I will comp him, and this isn't my comp. This is a evaluator's comp, a combination of Mike Evans and Nico Collins. I mean, who wouldn't love to have that?
No doubt. No doubt.
I love Godwin, but coming off a knee.
That's a big question in the chat right now.
Scary, but if it's a deal signing,
yeah.
Well,
JT, he's like 6'5" or 6'6". He catches everything. The only thing I think is suspect is how fast he is in and out of his breaks, and I guarantee you he's going to be working on that between now and the combine. But look at Evans; he doesn't need to run a 4.3, But I mean, if you're going to pair someone with Garrett, though, you want that.
Well, and you guys you guys know what I keep saying. They do need to get some speed on the outside. They need someone that can stretch the field. Doesn't have to be a number one or a number two, but someone that can stretch the field.
I was gonna bring you took the words out of my mouth, Scott. I was gonna bring that up. Like, I do think that we need we need size, but I also feel like, maybe a wide receiver 3, wide receiver 4, somebody with some real speed, like somebody that's a threat every time they're on the field. That you got to worry about that guy. If you got him man to man, one on one coverage, he's going to burn that DB because he's just that fast. You need a guy like that too. So I think we need 2 receivers, really.
Well, if Adams is gone, for sure.
Yeah.
And you can't consider the tight ends, any of the tight ends, as a real receiving threat. I mean, I like Conklin. He's solid, but he's not. No one's worried about him.
Yeah, and that's a big question too. Are they going to try to bring Conklin back? Are they going to try something different?
Is
Supposedly,
anybody
tight end draft.
is anybody else gonna be like trying to give Conk 10 to 12 a year? Like, I think it's the choices. I think we can get him back for like 3 for 25. Would you? We'll see. But 3 for 25, that's Hunter Henry range. Would you put him in that range?
Yeah, I think so.
He's
Little,
around.
I'd put him a little below Hunter Henry, but
Perfect.
not way below.
That's what I mean. Hunter Henry making 8 to 9 mil a year. I think the choice is ours. If we want Conk back, he'll be back.
Well, then how about save some money, go even less, and have a little more money for the linebackers.
I mean, if you can't, listen, hear me out.
You don't want to end up with an Uzama again, dude. Come on.
However, spring 2026, Mark Andrews and Isaiah Likely will both be expired. The Ravens are probably not going to keep both. We could do that.
Oof. What happened to Andrews? That's what I want to know.
He
He
just
went
had a
from
bad
being-
game, dude.
He went from being a top 3 tight end in the league, no doubt about it, to struggling, man. Like I don't know.
He was good this year.
He
Until-
had like
He got off to a good start.
He didn't last very long on my fantasy team before I dropped him. I can tell you that. Now I know stats aren't everything, but
Yeah, see, you dropped him before he started going off, and that's when I picked him up. He helped me.
he had like 7 or 8 straight games with touchdowns. But to start the season, he was a turd.
maybe I
Yep, he
spoke
was.
a little too soon there. My bad.
But you know what? I would love to have Isaiah Likely. Let's put it that way. That's where the tight end is going, man. Give me an athletic thoroughbred.
Can he
When is
block?
Pitt's contract up?
Who?
When does Kyle Pitt's contract? When's that up?
Give me a minute, but if you guys can refer to the chat at all, that would be really helpful. Pitts, you said? Give me 1 sec.
I don't know about these dudes in the chat though. Can we trust these guys to be reading their comments? I don't know.
Well, just be careful if Johnny leaves a comment. You gotta,
Yeah, that's the one you got to watch for. Big fella saying sign Conklin, draft Gunnar Helm in the 3rd, and cut Ruckert. I've heard the name Gunnar Helm. I'm not going to pretend I know where he's from or what he's done. That's a guy I'm going to have to look into though. Appreciate the name there, big fella. We'll definitely have to look into him. Now, Ruckert, are you done with Ruckert, Scott?
Oh, I've been done with Ruckert.
Yeah.
That dude can't catch the ball unless it's pretty much put right in his chest.
Yeah, it's rough, man, because the guy's got the tools. He's got everything that you want in a tight end. Like a guy that's just all well-rounded, like he can block his ass off, he can run routes, he can catch things like that. But he's just not putting it together, man. It's like he gets out there and has a brain fart and drops like simple passes, and like it's just crazy, man. So I kind of feel like the record experiment is pretty much over. When you have a new regime, that's when they tend to clean house. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see him going.
We might see a whole new tight end room next year.
Yeah, yeah, it's very possible. I also agree with Big Fella here saying that Isaiah likely is likely Andrew's replacement. I think that if they're signing one of those two, they're probably going to sign likely
Facts.
the Ravens.
Pitts is entering his 5th-year option year. So he, just like likely, will both be negotiating. They're headed into the final year of their deals. So maybe Andrews shakes free. I mean, like I said, I would give Conklin a couple years at a relatively cheap rate. But that doesn't mean he's tight end 1 penciled in. He'd be a great.
If you get him a 1-year deal, dude, for
Yeah.
like 7-8 mil, I'd take that and hope one of those guys shakes free next off season or something, or maybe you find a guy in the draft or whatever, But
Do you think Rucker could be a valuable H-back or maybe a fullback?
See a record. Good rock.
Fair. Fair. Tight end is, like you said, there's going to be turnover. There's also going to be turnover at safety. Murph, if you want to scoot, that's fine. I do want to find out.
10-15.
Okay. Scott, what do you think of Tony Adams? Because safety is an enormously turnover-prone room for us this year. Is there a Chuck Clark that you'd be willing to give a rental deal to, or a Tony Adams? Where are you at there?
Well, I like the kid out of Miami, the ex-Oregon Duck. I don't know. He might be demanding more money than the Jets will pay him. But I don't, what safeties are out there, free agent wise.
Yeah, I can tell you in a sec. But what about who we have? Is there any you would definitely try to retain?
I like Adams. I don't know. It just depends on the money, of course, like everybody else. None of them are great. It seemed like they all had some good moments. I'm over Ashton.
I mean, Justin Simmons will be available again.
Oh yeah,
Tyrann Mathieu.
dude, isn't he like 50 years old now?
Yeah, pretty much. Julian Blackman, Jordan Fuller,
Javon Hall.
Quandre Diggs. Would you give at?
I guess when they figure out who their defensive coordinator is and what they're going to want to do defensively, they'll know who they want to go after. But I'm a Javon Holland fan, and I'm kind of like Ricky with his Florida State guys. He's an ex-Duck, but he's done it in the NFL too.
I haven't eyed the Duck defense much, but there are some offensive guys I would be highly interested in, and you know who the first guy is.
Tez?
Yeah, Tez Johnson, baby.
Replace Gibson with Tez.
In a second.
I hear the 49ers don't think they're going to be able to bring back Funga, whatever, who I'm talking about.
The tackle?
No, the safety.
Oh.
I think his name was Funga. He's there. I've heard he might end up in Pittsburgh, which would be kind of funny considering he's got that same hair and everything. But
Polynesian?
Yeah. He could be a good sort of a. The guy's a playmaker for sure. He could be a good Chuck Clark sort of guy, a better version.
Huffunga, is that how
Yeah,
it's spelled?
whatever his name is. Yeah,
JT knows who you're talking about. Scott, we got some company if you're game.
always.
All right. This guy used to have a very nice goatee. Do you know who this?
Oh, yeah, that my hero, Mac Sean.
Let's see what he's got to say, man. Sean.
Oh, it's coming back.
What's up, fellas?
He's starting to lose the clean cut look a little bit.
Little bit. Good to see you, fellas.
You too, Sean.
Like I don't know. There's a lot of things that go through my head. Like, with our first pick, do we go defense? I see a lot of random things out there. One of the worst ones I ever saw was recently I saw one that was we were gonna trade our top pick and Quentin Williams for DJ Moore and like a late round pick.
What?
And I was like, who's making this stuff up? Like, where does this stuff come from? It's
Other
a
fan
completely
bases.
joke. Like
On Twitter.
and there's no way to like rebuttal it. Like he just says
Yeah.
it, uses his mess, and we just have to regurgitate it. And
At that point, I just exit the conversation because I'm like, this
Right.
is nowhere near rational.
Yeah.
yeah,
Can't
it's
communicate
insane.
with that person. Well,
Yeah,
Dave-
let's get DJ Moore over AJ or over who we have, because that'd be way better.
Well, especially when you're talking DJ Moore, the Bears receiver, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. When you got the receiver sitting right there in the draft, maybe. I mean, he'll be taken that you could just take instead.
Right.
Dane shared an interesting one with me today. Dane, would you like to talk about it?
I don't remember, so why don't you go ahead, Scott?
Wasn't it someone who was it? Dom saying McGregor is not. He didn't see
Graham?
the defensive lineman from Michigan,
Mason Graham.
Mason Graham, that a lot of people are calling a top 5 pick. And not that Dom's the word of God, but he's saying he doesn't see him as an elite player.
Yeah.
And I know I've heard a lot of Jet people saying, man, they'd love to get their hands on him.
Yeah. Dom said, and I quote, I don't see him as a blue chip player. So I think a lot of people you're going to watch, they're going to all go from wanting him to now just tempering it just a little. So I guess our point is, Sean, like everybody's going to have wild, opinions.
Yeah. And I love Dom C. Like no hate or anything like that, but I have disagreed on quite a few of his takes. But I think he's a good dude. Like there's no hard feelings or anything like that. But in general, I don't know.
Sean, let me ask you this. Is there a proven player we have on the roster that you would think it'd be, like, not that you would want to trade him, but like a new regime coming in, not with a lot of assets, maybe someone you think it'd be smart to trade now before you pay them and then you're stuck with them in like losing efforts?
I hate to say it because I'm one of those guys that's like, keep with your roots and all that stuff. But like, if we're going with a player that could make us some money that we already kind of could fill that role, it'd probably be Brees. And that sounds shitty.
Exactly.
But it sucks. But I'd love to keep him. But what's the price? Especially now that Saquon just realized, basically shook up the market. Like, hey, running backs
100%.
are legit again. Running backs are needed again. You know what I mean? It's kind of like, oh shit, now the price goes up.
Alvin Kamara got paid. Chuba Hubbard got paid. Like, you're right. It's not going to be a 3 for 25 running back anymore. They're going to want 10 to 15 again. So,
And if we
Brees
didn't have two running backs that looked really good behind a shitty team,
Yes.
I would say, we got to keep them.
Facts. And
You know?
the trouble is too, like, ideally you would get 1 year of him with a new OC and a new coach, but like then his value is far less because that's one less cheap year for who's getting him. So like that's a tough one, man.
And the other one that sucks, but it's true. If we don't decide to like push for our D line to get another defensive tackle, you might as well get rid of Quinn at his peak of his market and get as much as you can for him. Because if you're not gonna like push that, his like value goes completely down every year that we don't put anybody around him and make it. He's double teamed every year, and we're like, oh, you know,
Facts.
he's not doing
No.
good. He's not doing what he should be doing. And it's like, dude, he's one of the best out there, dude. He just doesn't have a surrounding cast.
What I will say on that, and I'm sure the chat will love that suggestion from you, but what I will say is
I
the
know
dude
that.
deserves to be on a championship caliber roster, and I don't know how.
That's what I mean. I think the guy's great, but if you can't put anybody around him, and we're just going to keep criticizing the guy for not being what he was 2 years ago when we had the surrounding cast.
Facts.
Until they decided to get rid of Huff and JFM, and then all of a sudden, oh, what's going on? Why does he not play to his performance? And it's a bunch of crap, dude. It's like because he doesn't have people around him, dude. You can't be double teamed, triple teamed every single game and expect to get like numbers. You know,
Scott,
and if the rest of the guys can't do their job, that's not on him.
Scott, do you think it behooves us to just keep Quinnen the rest of the time? Or, like, I mean, that would be a lot of assets that you could get in return that could really propel a rebuild. Where are you at?
Or you just get another DT and surround him with the cast that he needs.
Scott, I can't hear you.
I didn't say anything.
Oh, okay.
You got to keep him. I mean, didn't they destroy the D line enough last offseason?
That I 100% agree. But if they're not going to help him out, what do you do?
Oh,
you know what I mean?
Well, we're screwed if they're not going to help him out, unless they, unless they're bringing in Chris Jones or so. I don't know why they wouldn't keep him, unless you're talking just getting assets and start. Sorry, I walked outside and took a piss, so I kind of missed some of this conversation.
It was kind of basically like I don't want to get rid of him. That wasn't my first pick. Wasn't him. It was Brees, and it was because we have a room around him. Yeah. But if we're not going to put a defensive line around, DT, then what's the point? Like we just keep criticizing him on, oh well, he's not doing what he should do like he did last year. Well, last year he had a line behind him. Like when you have a line around you and you have other people that you can depend on and you can do your job, it makes it a lot easier. But when you don't have anybody around you and you're doing everything on the middle of the line by yourself, you're not going to have the same numbers. So what's the plan? Are we going to give them those people, or do we just say, hey, you know what, we're going to restart?
Somehow JD turned the strength of the team into a weakness, and that was
100%
unfathomable.
One off season,
yeah. And, I would want to keep him and build around him.
Me too.
Make that the strength of the team. Yeah.
Yep. We had it. We were a quarterback away, and then we got rid of half of our defense, and then got our quarterback, and we're like, oh, this shit didn't work.
Yeah, well, the offense wasn't great, but they were a lot better than they were last year.
Yeah, well, I mean, as much as we want to talk about Aaron Rodgers, I mean, the guy, he was in the 90th percentile. He had almost 4,000 yards. He had 3,800 and something yards, 28
Yeah.
touchdowns, 11. You know what I mean? He wasn't bad. He was exactly what we needed if our defense was what it was the year before.
Throw his year on the 2023 team, and everybody's happy.
Yep.
So, but hey, we're the Jets, man. That's not how it works.
Right?
Let me play quarterback on the 2023 team, and everybody's happy.
So, yeah, I
It,
would want to rebuild the line, and hopefully JJ will be back and at full strength soon enough, and get some beef in there and make it a strength again. And I don't think giving up Quinnen, unless you're just wanting to start over, someone would pay to have that guy. But-
wouldn't they?
I mean, I would love to have, like, let's just get another DT in there. I'm not saying first round, let's get another safety. Let's get another linebacker. And next year we'll worry about the O-line part of it. We're not great, but I think our O-line and what Aaron Rodgers has worked with, he knows it. And we can get through another year. And I think we'll just be better because we have better coaching in general.
And they were better the second half of the season.
Yep.
Yeah, the O line was better second half after Tyron Smith finally got the fuck out of here. I gotta agree with Rob V. You mentioned it too, Sean. By the way, what's up, buddy? Nice to see you, my guy.
What's up, bro?
Rob V said, I'm sick of devaluing safety too. And I gotta say, I agree with him. Like, we need to get us a good, like, a playmaking safety. Like, we haven't had one. You know, like, get us like a Justin Simmons, Buda Baker. Get us somebody back there that makes plays, because that can make the difference on a team, man. I really think so. Hopefully, Aaron Glenn sees that. So
I really wanted Hamilton.
Javon Holland. Yeah, Kyle Hammonds. Yeah. A lot of people were high on him. I wasn't super high on him, but he's kind of proved me wrong. I'll take the L there, but
no, I still think the first couple years he would have done something. Actually, you're probably right. We're the Jets. He would have been hurt all 3 years. My bad.
Can you survive the curse? That should be part of their interviewing process for all the prospects. Can you survive the Jet curse?
Right.
You know?
Oh man.
But yeah, so as far as making the defensive line a strength again, do you think that it's more important to hit edge or DT? I feel like you were kind of answered this already, but
I think DT only because we have. I mean, we need backups for edge for sure, but we have our two tops, right? We have McDonald, we have JJ. That's kind of our base. Then you have DT. All you have is Quinn. Like, you don't have anything else that's really like, I feel confident in this. So I would like another run, at least a run stuffer. Shit, we need somebody to stop the run.
Yeah,
hasn't happened yet.
Yeah, what happened to the days of Snacks Harrison and you know?
Oh God,
Foley. Those guys. Like, it seemed like every year we had a guy that was just a stud at stopping the run, and
I hate the New England Patriots, but man, they had one of the best DTs like that ever came out of the business. I love that guy.
Yeah. It's one of the few Patriots that I don't really have any hate for. At least after he
wearing his overalls,
retired.
Barbecue.
Yeah.
Oh, Wilfork. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wearing
like, ain't nobody like Wilfork, bro. So we need a guy like that though. Like, we don't need him to be we have the intelligence with Quentin. We need somebody that just busts people up and stops the run. You know what I mean? Quentin says, hey, turn to the left. You just turn to the left and you take 3 guys on.
Yeah.
Tie up O linemen so the linebackers can make tackles.
Yep, exactly.
Big old gap filler for sure.
Yeah.
Sean, did you I popped in after you've been on here for a second already. Did you happen to give your take on Glenn? What do you think of Glenn, buddy?
I really like Glenn. I really, to be honest with you, we didn't get into it, but like, I have a weird feeling that like we didn't get a Ben Johnson interview because him and Glenn were really good friends, and he was like, "Hey, I want to be the Jets head coach,"
It
and he
could
was like,
be.
"Hey, man, that's yours. I'm gonna take the Bears, or I'm gonna take whatever." Because I really wanted Ben Johnson. I really did. I wanted to go offense this year. I wanted to change things up a little bit. We were already going brand new either way. Like, let's go all the way brand new. Let's switch it up, go offensive minded, and see what happens. But I like Glenn. You know, like he's homegrown, which is always awesome. It's always good to have homegrown people. Like not only has he played for the Jets, but he worked for the Jets. He was a scout for the Jets during the time when we got who was it? D'Amico. I can't remember exactly, but he got us quite a few good picks. He got us some fillers as well, like Milner and stuff like that. But he was a part of a genre that got us like 3 or 4 really good pro starters. And
was that the DeBrickashaw era? Maybe I don't know when he was a scout here.
It was 2000, I think 2012, 2013. Sorry, I'm looking at it right now.
I'm not going to pretend I know the timeline.
Yeah, I don't know if that was Copel's era or maybe Mo Wilkerson. I mean, there's a lot of scouts too, but
no, D. Milner sucked, but we got some good people out of that draft. Our number 1 draft pick didn't work out, but that hasn't worked out for us for a while. But we got like 3 or 4 good people. It was DeMarcus somebody, but I'll look back on it. I'll get back on you next time we.
As far as scouting, yeah. Do you like his promise as a coach, though?
I mean, as much as I liked anybody, I liked Salah too. You know what I mean? Like I'm not going to be the guy who said like, "Oh, I thought Salah was going to suck." I thought Salah was going to be decent. I thought we were going to get more out of this last 5 years. But it didn't work out. So my expertise really doesn't matter.
Well, and you just don't know till they do the job.
Yeah,
some guys are
exactly
great coordinators, and they just can't be a head coach.
Right. Yeah. Like I actually think if one thing that probably a lot of people won't agree with me with is I thought Ulbrich was a good defensive coach. I thought that's why Huff became who he was. I thought he kind of bring JFM out of the shadows and turned him into what he was. And then he got put into a head coaching position, and then everybody was like, "Oh, this guy sucks."
Well, he's
not supposed to be there. He's good at what he was, and that's it. Like that's his job. Some people are only good at what they're supposed to be good at, and you kind of keep him in that position, and then you put him into another position, and then it's like, oh, it's all his fault. Like, it's all Woody right there, buddy. You got rid of everybody way too early, and now you got this guy who's like, oh shit, I got to control everything. This is all right, sure.
Sean, we got a shout out from the chat. Yeti said that hat of yours is on point, brother. Any final words about the current what we're dealing with as a Jet fan right now? Any final words for the chat?
Just brace yourself and hope for the best.
Patience, right? Patience.
That's right.
All we can do.
Love you guys.
We got 6 months to prepare.
Thank you for having me on, and I'll talk to y'all soon.
Yep.
Catch you later, Sean.
Later, brother.
Always a pleasure. Hell of a guy. Hell of a guy.
Yeah, Sean's that guy.
My beard mentor.
Yeah.
He had some
Uh,
spicy takes today, man. I thought the chat,
Oh
like,
yeah.
hey, if and I was forcing his hand. I said, hey, what proven commodity would you trade? And first he did say Brees, and oh man, I was happy about that one. But Quinnen was interesting.
Brees is who I was thinking, but I mean, not because you want to trade him, but if you had to. And I don't know, Dane, if you remember or not, but what did I say right after the draft? And kind of, why do we draft 2 running backs? Well, maybe they're preparing for life without Brees.
It's a pipeline, right?
So,
Facts.
fortunately, they both look solid. I mean, yeah, we'll see. We'll see.
Got to keep that pipeline going. A little off the topic of the Jets, I did want to touch on something. I just had to kind of put my opinion out here on it. Ben Johnson going to the Chicago Bears to me is the funniest thing because I feel like that's the worst place for him to freaking go. Like I know a lot of people were like, "Oh yeah, they got a young quarterback with a lot of talent and stuff like that." Like I understand the perspective of that, but there's one thing that Caleb Williams has done ever since he's ever been a freaking quarterback, and that has been try to make like ridiculous plays. Like he stands in the pocket for too long, runs around, acts crazy, spin moves, does a Zach Wilson pirouette, and all this stuff, and then he decides to try to chuck a bomb or whatever. Like he's one of them guys that's just obsessed with being like a playmaker, right? Well, and a guy like Ben Johnson, like he's going to come in, he's going to try to get this scheme going, he's going to try to have this structure, and Caleb Williams is going to go completely off plan every play, and it's going to drive him nuts. And I can see that becoming an absolute dumpster fire. And I don't think it's really at the fault would really be at the fault of Ben Johnson. I just think that that's
So
as
do
a
you think they'll butt heads? Caleb wanting to improvise and Ben wanting to stay routine. So that's where you think it's not a fit.
yes, yes.
You don't think one or the other will yield? Like that's the question. I don't know.
No, I don't think Caleb's done it his entire career, dude. He's never going to change it. And
Good
you know,
insight.
Ben Johnson just being an offensive guy, like whenever you're an offensive guy and you draw up a game plan and you draw up plays, like you want those plays to go how you draw them up. Like if you're good at what you
Facts.
do, guys are going to be open, right? And I
Yeah.
think he's proven that he's pretty good at what he does. Like he seems to make it work, you know.
He's the anti Jared Goff. I mean,
Yeah,
exact
exactly what I'm
opposite.
trying to say. Yeah. Yeah, Goff is the guy that'll get in there and he'll do what he's told. He'll snap the ball, go through his progressions as they're supposed to be, and then throw it to whoever's open. You know, whether it's a check down or a guy that's 20 yards down the field. But Caleb is not going to do that. He's going to he's going to run around and he's going to tell his receivers go deeper. You know, I know you're open, but run further.
More physically gifted, obviously, but
Yeah,
he's
yeah.
kind of a freelancer, you know, and maybe he can grow out of that.
Yeah, I mean,
S-
maybe.
Stack said, "Hell no, do not trade Brees. We'll be looking like the Giants." Do you think it would be that bad?
No, I don't think Brees is a Saquon, but yeah, no one wants to trade him.
No.
The
Well,
question.
What if he
no one
went
besides
to the
me.
Bills or something? What
No
if
one
we
besides
trade-
me.
What if we let him go and he went to the Bills? Oh no.
You see that Codrington made the All Pro
Really?
return? The Pro Football Writers Association All Pro team, Codrington. And we got a pick swap out of him.
It's almost like Jet fans know what the fuck they're talking about sometimes, you know? Because every one of us were like, man, like why do we get rid of him? You know? We're like, why are we keeping Gibson? Why this guy showed a lot of promise. And
I hope I never have to see that guy field a punt.
I cannot.
Scares the crap out of me every time.
Okay, here's a question: Gibson or Clemens? You can only cut one.
Dang, dude. Why?
Yeah.
Why?
I want to know who
reality.
you hate.
I'm gonna say Gibson.
Who do you hate
Clemens
more?
can't fumble a ball.
Yeah. I would probably say Gibson also until I see what they do on the defensive front.
Yeah. And obviously, you can't just bury the other. Like, Big Fella was looking at the 2014 draft. Was that even the draft that Glenn was a scout for us? I have no idea, but I'm assuming because I think that's what Sean was driving at. He was pointing to the time when Glenn was a scout. Apparently, it's pretty bad. Quincy and Nunwa was the only notable name. I know
Dude.
there were some bad drafts then.
I would take the ghost of Jamison Crowder over Gibson right now
Sure.
for punt returns. Like seriously, give me the half crippled corpse of Jamison Crowder, and I'll be content over.
Dane would take Randall Cobb.
Yes, I would. I would.
Yeah, at least like I said, Clemens can't fumble the ball. You know what I mean? Like he's not going to turn the ball over, and you know
He's
if we only
just
play
not
him,
going to contain the edge.
if we only play him fucking 15 or 20% of snaps, I guess we'll be okay with it. You know?
Hey, Nate's got a good idea. Cut Gibson, trade Clemens to the Bills. Perfect.
Yes, please. Let me say something on behalf of Sean though. It looks like Glenn was a scout for us 2012 to 2013.
Yeah.
So I don't
Yeah.
know if Big Fella was just just a heads up though. 2012 and 13. If you're even there, dude, a team has like 30 scouts though, right? Like I don't think we can give Glenn any credit, but unless like we knew he put his stamp to a certain prospect, that's different. But
Yeah, and you don't know, like, so is he scouting 2012 for the 2013 draft and 2013 for the 14? I don't know. I'm not going to get that deep into it. I know 2013 draft, at the very least, he was part of that one, and we got Demario Davis. So
I did hear someone mention JJ, and I wanted to just throw the little piece of news I have on him up for us, and that is that he's 18 weeks out, and his Achilles tension symmetry is exact. He said, God is great. We are almost back and as explosive as ever. So, see, he could have played in the Super Bowl. See?
Yeah, and Rodgers could have. Did he do it the same way Rodgers did it?
That I don't know. Elatrosh or whatever.
Yeah, well, that new sort of
the
surgery.
bridge, yeah,
Bridge, yeah.
Probably. I would say he probably did.
By the way, I don't know if I showed this. I don't think I did. Bart Scott, and this is Paul Fiore, good follow on Twitter, guys. Bart Scott on his show today said he believed that the Jets want Rodgers back. When asked about Woody, his answer was, Woody wants to win. Yet another voice who has connections to Glenn and the Jets building, suggesting that Rodgers could return. We'll see. But it's not nothing.
Yeah, I'm not even sure he wants to return. I'm not even sure he wants to play football anymore. So we will see. I kind of felt like he's going to retire. What my dogs doing right now? What the hell was
Sorry,
that?
I hit the wrong button.
Sometimes you gotta have a little chaos on the stream. That's
That was from his Aaron Glenn Gets Hired video. I'm like, what are you doing?
That's great. That is great. Gotta love Jeremy, man.
You do. You do. Um, yeah, let's see. Let's see. I guess he did go to the same doctor and get the bridge, which is, I don't know. Is it the move if you're a younger guy? I don't know, but I assume that he did his research. And, dude, maybe I'm naive, but I expect a big year from him next year.
Yeah,
I
I
want to see
think
how he comes back from the injury.
Yep. But
2026 might be the big year.
he's a ball player. I think he'll be fine. You know, I don't think he's ever going to be a superstar. He's never going to be a TJ Watt, but like, he's a ball player. He'll be fine. He'll be a good contributor for us for years to come if we keep him around. You know,
That's
what
part
I
of
like.
it. Yeah.
Clancy, you got to rewind, man. It's a one shot deal on that. Dude, you should see how many little
Chaos.
funny nugget things I have on my PC that I've never done anything with. That was one.
But you
But
did on accident.
oh yeah, total
For a
accident.
second, I thought he popped in the stream and was just acting out. I was like, "Damn!
I did too.
All right.
I'm like, whoa.
All right, Chaos, what's up?"
You got the sound with it and everything.
Mhm.
You know what do you guys think? Should we go ahead and do our picks now?
Well,
Yeah.
I think you need to show everybody the
Oh,
stand.
wait. I'm sorry. We have someone joining us. I forgot.
Chaos.
My bad to the guy in the green room. He joined about 5 minutes ago, and I totally forgot. But a guy you guys know, say hello
I don't know.
to Brother Yeti.
What's up, Yeti?
What's up, guys? When you brought Jeremy on, I was like, dude, that's me. I looked up and I was like, wait, that's not me. But I love Chaos. Chaos is cool.
Yeah,
I'll flip
You
around.
you gotta
So-
pop in.
Whoa.
You gotta pop in next week's stream as Father Yeti and have like the white collar and the black. Preach,
I don't know if you
preach
guys remember.
some gospel.
Yeah.
I almost
Yeah.
announced you as Papa Yeti, and then I saw Brother, and I had to switch it.
Yeah. Well, we're all brothers. We're all brothers.
Yep,
Brothers
Yeah.
in pain.
Jet Brethren.
Yeah. So, man, where am I at? Where are we hopping in on this? I had a bunch of good takes, but the conversation shifted a little bit.
You know what? No, let's go. The very first thing is Glenn, man. We got to know where you're at with us hiring Aaron Glenn to be coach of the New York Jets.
I'm gonna see how to begin this. Okay, I got a top 5 of defensive backs in my career, or my Jets fandom career throughout my life. The first 2 are going to make you laugh, but you'll like them if you're a real Jets fan like me. It's Ray Mickens, Marcus Coleman,
Okay.
Aaron Glenn, Victor Green, Antonio Cromartie. Revis is 2 slots behind them.
Wow.
I love Glenn. I really love Glenn. I love Glenn. I hope he turns out to be a great coach because I don't want it to tarnish his name, you know? And I think we're all kind of on that same mindset. Like somebody mentioned on Jake's show earlier today, like, yeah, Wayne can come back. Wayne Corbett, he can come back and be like a YR coach. And I'm like, no. Like, I don't want Wayne to fuck his name up at all. Just leave it what it is. But I think Aaron Glenn's a great hire, man. I think he's going to do a lot here. I'm really happy with the hire. I know, like, maybe, you know, Flores and all the other names that people are throwing out could have done a little better. Sorry, you guys are just looking at my hands. Jesus. But, yeah, dude, I'm really happy with Glenn. I got nothing bad to say at all about the hire. I'm happy with it.
I will say I agree with you. One of the things that's been in the back of my head the whole time is I'm like, oh my God, don't let him tarnish his name. You know what I mean? Like, please be successful, at least mildly successful. Like, break our playoff streak and, get us something, it's where it's not like, oh God, that fucking Aaron Glenn guy, see what he did to us, No, I don't want that at all, man. I want to remember him. He's one of our legends, so to say. Like, let him stay that way. But and that's another thing with Rex. Like, everybody is such a big fan of Rex. I'm like, if we bring Rex back, we're all going to have bad memories of Rex. Like, we're not going to even remember those 2 AFC championships. Like, yeah, so like, let's leave him in the Jets Hall of Fame for 2 AFC championship appearances, I guess. And we'll leave him there. But yeah, that was something that worried me with Glenn, man. I'm like, oh, man, I hope that people don't sour on him. Is my worry.
But what can he really do to us, Murph? Not take us to the playoffs
again.
The same thing that Robert Saleh did, Adam Gase did,
exactly.
Todd Bowles did.
Well, even if you say he's a 2.0, isn't 2.0 an upgrade from 1.0? Like, it's still an upgrade.
Hey, he won't be as beaten down as Saleh was. So at the very minimum, we gave Saleh an IV bag.
Oh, he didn't get the Jags job. Is he still floating around? Is anybody still looking for a coach?
Saleh took the defensive coordinating job for the 49ers tonight.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jags. Liam Cohen took the Jags job, and I think that was the nail in the coffin, because I think Saleh was trying to get that job, and they had interest in him, but they finally wrangled up Cohen. So Saleh said, "Screw it, I'm going back to the Niners."
Yeah, he went back home. I don't blame him for that. Pretty good, smart move on his point. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so Yeti, I asked Sean the same question, but we have to talk about a new regime coming in. Mm-hmm. Limited capital. We're down a pick. Like, one of our picks basically got shifted down 15 spots. Like, I call that limited capital, but limited money. Don't really know what the QB... Like, it would behoove a new regime to look at this roster, decide who they want to keep, maybe part with 1 or 2, and get some extra picks.
Right.
If that is your strategy, and you have to trade a proven commodity, who would you first consider parting with that is proven on this team?
I think when I hopped on the chat, you guys were talking about Clemens and fucking A, I can't, Gibson. But that's not here because they're not proven commodities. So I guess probably Reed is the biggest name.
He's a free agent.
Yeah. So
too late. Too late for that.
You know who Dane is talking about. He's talking about the core 4, man.
Yep.
Brees, Garrett, JJ, Sauce.
Maybe an AVT. But yeah, I'm talking about guys under 30 that, I mean, Saleh and JD would have kept, those kind of guys.
The 4 that Daniel just mentioned, I don't even want to touch those 4. I love Brees. I think he's been so underrated and just so misused. I still think he's like I don't know. How many people are in this chat? Who cares? But like top 5. He's a top 5 RB in my eyes still. I still have a lot of faith in Brees. I know it might be a pipe dream. It might be. So I don't even want to touch his name. Garrett, I'm not going to touch that. JJ hasn't really had a good, solid season for us, so I want to see what he can do. So I don't even want to think about getting rid of him. And what was the fourth that you said? Oh, Sauce?
Sauce, AVT.
Quinnen.
Yeah. Well, I don't want to touch Quinnen either. I still think
Olu.
Quinnen is the heartbeat of the defense, I believe still. Man. Dude. What a bomb. What a bomb to drop. Thanks, Dane. Man, this is tough, dude. Man.
Dan, you're muted.
Some stud on this team that I think we could get rid of.
Yeah, for picks. Not for nothing, for picks.
Right. Okay.
Someone that other teams would actually trade for.
Anybody on the O line have any weight?
Titman, Olu,
Can't trade. Well,
ABT.
no. Yeti can trade whoever he wants.
The old guys. What about our older guys? I mean, I want to keep Moses.
You
Smith.
can't keep everybody, Eddie.
People don't want old guys, Yeti.
Old guys with names can get you young picks sometimes, though. Man, damn, this is tough, man. I want to keep it all, Just the same. My regime, I wanted Rex, Josh, and Aaron Glenn. That was my team that I wanted. I wanted the whole squad to come back. I wanted Jim Leonard in there somewhere. Somehow I wanted the whole team to come back. But Jim Leonard still could be our DC. Throwing that out.
That's a sneaky good option at defensive coordinator, though.
True.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, but it's who I can get rid of, man. Me. I'll say me. I'll just get rid of me. I don't want to get rid of anybody. It's hard. It's tough. I get that there is value with some of these guys, though.
Garrett?
I don't want to touch any of our linebackers. I don't want to. That's tough, man.
What if you drafted a receiver 7th overall and traded Garrett?
No.
Good answer.
Yeti says no to everything.
If it's a Jets homer, and I'm a huge homer, I'm gonna say nope. Keep him until he gives me 2 bad seasons, and we trade him to another team, and he still sucks over there. Then I finally agree. Michael Carter.
Dane, did you include Quincy on that list?
Yeah, you know what?
Yeah, you're not getting
Going
rid of
into
Quincy.
the last, I mean, I don't know if we're going to be able to keep him, so I would include him.
It's not a bad idea to trade guys you don't think you can keep.
Yeah.
Look at Sherwood walking. Look at Huff walking. Look at it's tough, man.
Reed's gone.
But also, think of the.
Can I trade Reddick?
Nah, he's gone
I can't
anyway.
trade Reddick?
No, he's gone. But think of the boost that you would be giving Glenn and company if you said, "Hey, here's an extra 2nd and 3rd. Here's an extra 1 for 2026, and now you got 2 1s and can take a quarterback in 2026." I'm just saying, but hey, okay, stick to your guns. So what you're telling me is you're gonna be patient. You're gonna be okay losing a bunch of games this year, Yeti. It sounds like, and you're gonna be fine drafting. I don't know, 8 to 10 next year.
40 years of being a Jets fan, it's all I know is losing a bunch of games. So, I mean, I'm gonna take it.
That's a hell of a conclusion for you to come to, Dane, after Yeti refusing to trade any single player.
I don't know why
Dane took that straight to we suck.
No. Well, if
they're going to lose a bunch of games.
Okay.
Maybe ABT just because we've only gotten a 7-game season out of him total, max.
Yeah,
8-game season.
It's an option.
I don't know.
I
want to see what he's got though. See, you're asking the wrong guy, man. This sucks.
Maybe a 4th at best.
What's the chat think? I would love to know who they have on their chopping blocks.
Yeah, I can't see it. What are they saying?
It would be nice to know what the scheme, how will Glenn's schemes, the OC's scheme, be different? Maybe there's a guy that won't fit. I'm just saying. We'll see. Scott, you're being asked if you are drinking straight Everclear for your cough.
No, just an empty, clear beer bottle.
I know we got some new people in the chat. Rob V, Boomtown, Nate's been here, Billy, a whole bunch of people down there. So I appreciate y'all. If you have any questions for Yeti, put them in the chat. Mitchapalooza. Question about that. Jesus
Nice.
Jerry wants to know, Yeti, is that shirt from Old School?
Totally, man. My
Nice.
Mitchapalooza, man. You got a dart in your neck.
Yeah. Johnny says that Garrett would be safe for him, but everybody else has a price tag for him.
Fair.
I almost agree with that.
Yeah, that's fair.
Although I'm scared to death to trade away Sauce and then he returns to form right after. I feel like with Aaron Glenn as our coach, Sauce is coming right back to all pro status next season.
Yo,
You're right.
great point, Daniel. Dude, I love that because people aren't really understanding what the importance that Glenn is going to bring to the defensive secondary that slipped apart a little bit last year. Like, he's going to hone that in and tighten it in. Like, you guys are going to fuck up my game. That's my spot. You're not going to fuck up my position. Like, we own that. Sorry for cussing. But, you're not. Yeah, he's not going to take anything less than perfect.
He's known for also playing
returning.
more man. He's known for playing more man.
Yeah.
On defense, and I think that's Sauce's game, man.
And
yeah, but
if
he'll teach tackling. He will teach tackling. Glenn was a tackling pro. He used to plant dudes. He would just plant dudes. Like, he played the game like a safety, and I loved him about that. He's a great cover, tons of interceptions, and he played the game like a safety. He hit dudes. He put them to the ground. I know you guys all love Revis and his tackling, but he was a little bit better. Revis is better overall, but Glenn was a better tackler. He played the game like a safety, and it was old school when you could play tough and play hard. So it's a little bit different. It's hard to judge now because you got to be kind of a pussy nowadays. But yeah, I don't know. He's a hard hitter, and his special teams game, or his special teams is going to turn around. There's not going to be. I mean, I don't think you're going to see Gibson out there at all. He won't be there. Not that it's on the player, it's on the overall scheme, but you remember he was a specialist. You look at Glenn's points, he put up a lot of points. He's a defensive player and a special teams guy. I think he has 14 overall touchdowns in his NFL career, and 10 of them were with us. I'm not a stats guy. One of you guys can look that up, but I mean, he returned punts or he returned kicks. I think he only returned punts for Houston. I don't think he really ever returned them for us. But Houston tried to make him the punt returner. He might have returned a couple for us. I don't know. See, I'm old. Yeah. I should know that. Scott,
speaking of special teams, I saw that Justin Hardy spoke out this week about how happy he was to see Glenn land here. Would you guys consider going back to that well and shipping what's his face out of here? 16, I think his number is.
Charles?
Brownlee? Charles? Charles. Yeah. No, Charles. Yeah. Do you trust Charles?
He's been.
Yeah. Yeah, I think
that's for you, buddy. Hey, another name we didn't throw into the mix was MC2. Is he on the chopping block?
Yeti, sorry, brother, we lost you. Have a good night, brother. Good takes, of course. MC2? What'd you say?
Just gave him a deal.
I know. Well, we were just naming young guys that might be able to get you something.
Yeah.
As far as picks, but I don't want to get rid of MC2. That's I'm probably leaning on that Brees bandwagon there. I feel like running back is the easiest position to replicate. I mean, you see the Rams down there doing it with no name guys all the time.
And yet he never did give an answer, did he?
No, he coughed out like a motherfucker.
Man, he's a future politician.
He, yeah, he told us that, and then he came back and blew us a kiss. So just take what you want out of that. Take what you want out of that.
Johnny boy, that is perfectly fine with us.
What do you
Oh,
think we
yeah.
do on here, Johnny?
Yeah, yeah.
Johnny,
You can't.
You should have been here when we were all drinking the whiskey.
Scott really wants to bring back those days.
You know what I will say, guys? You guys
Used to
spoke.
buy a bottle.
You spoke about Garrett Wilson, and that's it for you guys. Like in my opinion, has adapted, of course, but I have Sauce in that spot, and Garrett can be acquired from me.
Well, reality is no one's untouchable. I mean,
Yeah.
someone makes a really stupid trade, you got to listen, or a stupid offer, you got to listen, but don't want to see him go, obviously.
I think that like the asking price for Sauce is higher than Garrett, but I don't know, like just getting rid of Garrett, especially when we don't know what the hell's going on with Devontae and stuff like that, we would have nobody if we got rid of Garrett, and that's scary as hell. So, but like I feel like that, if somebody calls and offers you 2 firsts for Sauce, it's like, are you going to turn that down? Really? I don't know.
For
Man.
Sauce,
And Dane's not worried about next year.
well, this year, 2025, yeah,
Yeah.
I'm not.
Yeah,
I'm not.
Dane's. I should say next season,
I'm not.
but
I think because hold on, let me defend myself. The only reason is because I think we'll be better in the long run if we treat 2025 that way. I think if we band-aid together the best season we possibly can, I think we're only going to hurt ourselves after that.
what's going to make the Jets better in the long run is a competent front office and a competent coaching staff.
And no dead money, man.
We'll get through that, and now teams have dead money. That's part of the deal. But there's so many good receivers now that Wilson would be easier to replace. And I'm not saying Sauce is better than him, but it's easier to find a good receiver than a good corner these days.
I will agree with that, and I was thinking about that too earlier, Scott. Receivers, you just get so many of them out of the draft every year that are just studs, man. I mean,
yep. And every year there's more of them.
Yeah. I mean, this year you had Marvin Harrison Jr., Malik Neighbors, Brian Thomas Jr. All 3 of those guys had good seasons.
Corley, don't forget Corley.
Let's relax there on that a little bit. Jalen McMillan, was taken off towards the end of the season. Like there's, every year you get a good 4 or 5 just studs, and but I don't know. Maybe it's just something about Garrett. Like Garrett wants to win so bad, and he always seems to say the right things. Like, yeah, he's fiery and stuff during the games and stuff, but like he still never says anything like in press conferences and things like that. He always says the right stuff, dude, and he just seems like the type of guy you want to build your team around. I think that's why I feel like Garrett should be untouchable. To me, I think maybe Sauce and Garrett are both untouchable.
That I can live with. I just prioritize Sauce a hair more. Garrett though. I feel
Sauce more for sure.
I feel like as people might disagree with me, but I feel like Garrett proved himself even more valuable this year, not less. Like I think a lot of people had him for 2K and they're down on him. I'm actually higher on him, just because like he's proven it with how many different quarterbacks now? Like, it's crazy. A good question I want to get to before I forget, and while he's still here, because I know he has to run. We were one of the few that, and I might have instigated it, but talking about trading DJ Reed. I was talking about it before the last draft because I wanted Quinyon Mitchell, but Boom wants to know what you guys think about whether we made a mistake not trading him at the deadline. He wants to know, is anyone here on board with believing we could have gotten a third for him at the deadline? Seems like most of the experts said we could have at least gotten a fourth. What do you
I
think?
think because he's on an expiring deal, you're not getting that much out of him. Like usually when that happens, teams are just trying to get what they can out of a guy. They send him off for fifth, sixth, whatever, because they're on an expiring deal. It's just like a mercenary type deal thing. Like, I don't think we would have got a third out of him. A fourth at best. Should we have? Yes. Because around the trade deadline, like DJ Reed's stock was still decently high. And then towards the end of the season, he was looking rough, man. So maybe he just gave up. I don't know. But yeah, we probably should have traded him.
As it turns out, how about re-signing him? Any
No.
possibility of that?
No.
You know, someone might have gave us a third if they did the calculation and felt like they could get a comp pick back for him once he walked out of their building, right? But, I mean, third, fourth, whatever. Instead, we spent a third at the deadline. Like, that's the double whammy, right?
Desperate.
The chat is, the ones I've seen in the chat, everybody's saying, yeah, we should have traded him at the deadline. Are you thinking that we should have, but still traded for Devontae though, or would you have parted with DJ and just rode it out?
Well, they traded for Devontae before the deadline, didn't they?
Yeah, it was. We had him for the Steeler game on 10/20. So yeah, it was like 3 weeks before the deadline.
When we still thought there was a chance.
Yeah.
We were 2-4.
Hindsight is 2020, man. Like if you're looking back at it, it's easy to say like, no, don't bring Devontae in. Yeah, send Reed off, but when we were in the spot, like we were all just as desperate as Joe Douglas was. Like we all wanted to make those moves and like to make our team better. So at the time, we're probably like, no, don't send Reed away, and yeah, bring in Devontae, anything that'll help, and it didn't work.
What do you think there's a chance DJ goes out there and doesn't find the money that everybody's thinking that he'll get?
Sure.
Based on that performance, the second half of the season, yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
I think he'll still land a decent contract, but I don't think it's going to be, what a lot of people thought in the beginning of this past season.
Sala will convince the 49ers to overpay him.
Yeah, I can see him going there. Or maybe the Falcons will sign him.
Later, Boomtown.
To start, see Boomtown. To start AJ Terrell or something.
Yeah, hell of a, man. Well, here's the thing, the money I had earmarked for Sherwood, if he's going to Atlanta, I don't know, man. Maybe I do get a Reed because, you can't be naked at linebacker and all I'm saying is you can have Sherwood money. You can have Mosley money. We can't lose them all.
Yeah, well, just because that we think like these players are good doesn't mean that the new coaching staff is going to believe in them, or maybe they're going to look for different traits in a player. Like that's the thing. Like we all sit here and we're like, yeah, Sherwood, he's a stud, man. He had a good season this last season. Re-sign him and stuff like that. Well, Aaron Glenn's going to come in, and he may not be looking for a guy like Sherwood. Like he might want a totally different type of linebacker in here, man. Same thing with corners. So it's hard to say. I Yeah, we don't know. We're gonna have to see what Glenn what he's looking for. I've been preaching this since we fired our coach and GM. Like there's gonna be a lot of turnover, guys. There's gonna be a lot of turnover. It's gonna be more turnover than we want.
Well, there was going to be a lot of turnover anyway. I mean, we talked about it months ago, right? How many guys were going to be free agents?
And it's very possible there will be guys that we think, there's no way in hell that they're going to get rid of this guy, and they will. Like there could be, there's a high chance that there could be like a sauce or somebody that gets sent packing.
Happens all the time. Yeah.
Every time there's a new regime change, that stuff happens.
Yep.
Sure.
Facts.
100%.
Get old Carlton Davis at CB1. Yeah, that's the other thing. Like, guys we have won't fit, but then guys that the Lions had will fit. So get ready to learn your Lions, because you might get a few of them. I don't want Davis, but I think we talked about it, guys, a couple of days ago. Zeitler, maybe for O-line depth. Who was the wide receiver? Patrick?
Patrick.
Tim Patrick.
Craig Reynolds, their running back, looks good. Like these are all guys that are expiring for them.
Jameer Gibbs.
Yeah. Boing.
I'm sure he'll be
Boing.
available. Sure
And
he'll be
Malone.
available. Jameson Williams. There's our speed guy, Murph, right there.
Yeah.
You know what? Amon-Ra St. Brown. He'll be a Jet next season.
Yeah.
We're going to have a very different team. So you can't even project how many wins you got, even just with Glenn. You don't know who the coordinators are, and you don't know who 70% of the team is.
Yeah. It's intriguing, man. And that's another thing, too. The GM also, has he's going to have a big say in this. So we'll see, if we get Muji or Moogs or Mooj or who the fuck ever his name is, if he comes in here, there might be a lot of free agent Broncos coming to town,
But who's going to have the bigger say? The head coach?
That's another question. That's another big question right there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Guys, call-in line's still open. We're winding down, though. We're moving on to our pick selection. I'm trying to find. Give me 1 second. Actually, you know what, you guys can, if you want to chop it up over this, I feel like Ben Johnson is even doubly screwed. Murph mentioned because of Caleb Williams, but there was another thing that happened as well.
His Green Bay comment or his Matt LaFleur comment?
No, actually, it was something in their division that happened. Oh, wait, no. No, Chicago ain't in that division. Never mind. But what do you think of the coaches in this division? How about that? They got Pete Carroll at the bottom, but yeah.
Those are some greats. And now Harbaugh and Carroll can resume their rivalry.
3 of those guys have won Super Bowls.
And one is going to.
No. Get out of here, Scott.
Harbaugh's going to win a Super Bowl, I'm telling you.
He didn't win one before.
He screwed that up. because they had the ball, didn't let Frank Gore touch it. 1st and goal.
I kind of think that they got screwed with that power outage too. They lost their momentum.
The Ravens.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
Because I felt like they were starting to get some momentum, and it felt like the tides were starting to turn, and then the power went out, and there was like a big delay, and then next thing you know, they come back, and then the Ravens just kind of grinded the rest of the game out on them.
Yeah, yeah. I was watching that game with a whole bunch of 49er fans, and I was the only one rooting for the Ravens. They weren't thrilled with me. Yeah, me rooting against the Niners. But I think Harbaugh, I think he'll get it done.
I don't know. I'm starting to wonder about Herbert now, man. I really thought Herbert was a stud, but he really hasn't looked that great the last year or two.
He was pretty good this year, but bit of a meltdown in the playoffs.
4 picks.
You know what, though?
That's rough.
It was. But he was forcing the issue late when they had to.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
Yeah, that's true, but still.
Not a great game.
Yeah. And you got to think he let himself get down like that too, so
There's some weird things that happened in that game. And I'm sure that one receiver dropped a couple balls because he does every game.
Which receiver?
Oh, the first round draft pick that's pretty much
Quentin Johnston.
Yeah.
Yeah. He ended up being a little bit of a bust.
Oh, it was they were kind of dominating the game, and they had, what was it? It was like a 3rd and 19 or 3rd and 22 or something, and they had the quarterback sacked, and somehow he got away and he completed a big pass, and then the whole game changed after that.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's the thing, dude. Momentum is a fickle. It's a fickle. What do they call it? A fickle mister. Well, I don't remember the saying, but regardless, yeah, big deal in football, in my opinion.
Yeah, for sure.
What we got going on, Dane? Oh yeah.
Oh,
The old pick'em score sheet here. Don't call it a comeback.
We are segueing to the conference championship picks. Big fella, we'll get to your comment on the other side. I do want to know about that. I haven't seen it. If you can copy and paste it, that'd be sweet. But if not, we'll look it up. But yeah, we got a good little contest brewing. A reminder, you get 2 points if you pick the underdog, and you get a single point if you pick the favorite. And there's only 3 games left, man. So let me bring up the very first game. See if I can find it here. Oh, all right. So, in the chat, if you can, tell us, do you want to try to get 2 points for picking the Commanders away? Do you want to pick a single point on the Eagles taking care of business at home? Not with the spread, don't matter. Just who you want to win, and you get how many points. Like I said, if they're the favorite, you get 1 point, and if they're the underdog, you get 2. So, with that said, this is a tough-ass game to pick, I'll tell you that, because I would pick the Eagles all year, but I'll tell you what, they're not playing very good right now, and the Commanders are the hottest team in the league. So, any volunteers to shout their selection first?
Yeah.
What's the weather supposed to be like in Philly?
Scott, you're making me look dumb over here,
That's
man.
a good question. How the hell were we supposed to know that off the top?
Yeah.
Oh shit! So is this Saturday or Sunday?
They're both. Yeah, Saturday football's over. So is Monday football. Sucks.
Philadelphia, Pennsylvania.
Clancy, I got you Jerry. Jerry wants the Eagles, and so does Clancy.
All right, it's
Ugh.
clear. It's 44 degrees is the high, 23 is the low. It's clear. No snow or anything. So
What I will say is, if you want to see movement in the standings, that you might need to, but hey, if everybody goes to whatever you want to do.
I'm going to put it out there now. You kind of touched on it earlier, Dane. All damn year long, I'd have went Philly, dude. But Philly is just scraggling along, dude. Like they're not. And Hurts is dealing with a knee issue right now. I think that really is affecting him. And then the Commanders are hot right now, so I'm gonna go Commies, dude. I can't believe it because any other time I'd have went Eagles. Let's say you, Scott.
I picked the Eagles to win the Super Bowl. That being said, Dane, maybe
There
blow
it
it
is.
up a little bit.
Skins.
Wow, man. The chat is all Eagles. So far, the panel is all Washington. Damn. Man. You know what? I should have hopped on the Washington bandwagon sooner because they have been proving me wrong every damn week. I gotta stay the course, man. EAGLES. Eagles.
Gross.
Bro, dude, I have to believe that Hurts, this close to the Super Bowl, pulls his head out of his ass. And Jaden, I believe, comes back down to earth. I know, Scott. I see you, Vanna Scott up there.
It's not my blanket.
Vanna Whitebeard.
We got Billy on the Eagles train. We got Midnight Mike on the Washington train. Let's see. Bam with
Oh, he said
Philly.
Washington will lose.
Okay. All right, that makes sense.
You didn't read it all the way there.
No, I didn't, man. Help me out with the chat.
Big fella's with us, Murph.
Hey, trends
Okay.
are trends, man, for a reason. I just like ever since the playoffs have started, Hurts and the Eagles have been trending down. Like even though they've squeaked through, they haven't looked great. And Commanders have been trending up. I'm not saying the Commanders are taking it all, but I think that they're playing the right team at the right time.
I saw this stat about Daniels. Top QBR against the blitz, top QBR against pressure, top QBR on third down, and top QBR on fourth down. And the dude's a rookie.
What a lineup
Yeah.
of just stats. Yeah, that's wow.
I tell you what, man, I'm taking them 6 points and I'm running to every bookie I can find.
Hey, in Oregon, at least when I used to hang around up there, you could bet on NFL games in the bars that was part of the lottery system. I don't know if you can still do that or not, Dane, if you've ventured out to try that or not.
I know they have DraftKings. It says it's from the Oregon Lottery as well, so it must be a similar system. Mike says that Washington will lose only because he's rooting. So he is picking against his own judgment, I think. But he's been there, done that, man.
I tried to ask Mike not to root for the Jets anymore, but we wouldn't go for that because he says whoever he roots for loses.
Jerry, that's a good one. I like that. That's the first time I've heard it. Um,
Not at all.
yeah, I don't know. I'm just saying, like, I think their magic carpet ride comes to an end. Not that I don't think they can win. I just think that Hurts is like he knows what it's like to choke, and I feel like he won't this time. And I think last week he still didn't look great because he had that bad concussion. Now we're back to square one, and I'm going Eagles with Barkley, man.
He's dealing with that knee, man.
Yep.
Um,
Yeah,
uh,
true.
the the one thing I do want to point out there, I want to shit on myself real quick. I did not think that Jaden Daniels was going to be successful in the NFL. I'm just going to put that out there now. So I have to take my L right there. I was way the fuck off with that.
You weren't the only one, man. I didn't know him enough, to be honest. But let's move on. We got our picks down. You both got the Commanders. I got the Eagles. Moving to the AFC. This one, assuming the line doesn't move, which this is a crazy line considering they're in air. Like, how many teams could be going to Arrowhead and having a point spread under 2 points? Not many. So
I think Dane needs to pick first on this one.
fine. Chiefs. Chiefs, baby.
That's where I'm going to. I was hoping you were going to say Buffalo.
You know what? For 2 points, that is the smart move.
That wouldn't be bad, but I can make up on you. And actually, Murph's tied with you, so I should be concerned about him also. But
I'm going dogs all day with the Bills.
oh,
Because I said it earlier, a couple weeks ago, that I think this is the year the Bills make it to the Super Bowl and then lose out in the Super Bowl.
so Murph, you're looking at Bills, Skins, Super Bowl.
Yeah. I thought it would
Ew.
be Bills Lions, but I was wrong about the commies. They proved me wrong this year.
Yeah.
Chat. We need some of your opinions. Scott, do you want to say anything about your Chief selection other than they've been there, done that so many times?
Exactly. And, we all know when there's a big call here and there, which way it's going to go. So,
Not if Tony Romo has something to say about it.
There was a big expose this week about how favorable the Chiefs have had it, referee-wise and all that. But it's not going to change anything. You know what? It's a coin flip game, man.
it is.
Yeah.
I'm tempted to take Buffalo, but
I actually thought Buffalo was going to be the favorite, to be honest with you.
I was hoping.
Chiefs didn't look great.
The thing is, if I was to take Buffalo, that's not crazy, but then the Chiefs win, I'm going to say, well, fuck, of course the Chiefs win at home in the playoffs. I mean, just kind of the way it is.
Dude, I thought the obvious choice a couple Super Bowls ago was you bet on Hurts to beat Mahomes. But I'm like, against my better judgment, I said no. I'm gonna be this smart, and I'm just gonna pick the Chiefs and not look back. Thank God I did, but like everything was telling me the Eagles win this game.
Well, and they should have.
And I feel like, how are you gonna stop Josh Allen in the fourth quarter? I don't know, but I'm just gonna blindly pick Mahomes.
I trust the Chiefs' defense more than I trust the Bills' defense.
So you think it'll be a shootout?
No, I don't. I mean,
Okay.
Chiefs aren't having a lot of shootouts these days.
No.
Scott, you said something earlier. You said of course the Chiefs are going to win, at home in the playoffs. Well, back in 2010, people were saying the same thing about the Patriots. Of course, the Patriots are going to win at home in the playoffs.
Well, that's just me talking to myself after they do win. Had I picked Buffalo, I'd be saying, how fucking stupid are you picking against the Chiefs? But
I probably am going to have that moment here soon.
I wouldn't be surprised if Buffalo wins. Not at all. I mean,
Hey, you guys got me last week. I picked Ravens, and Bills were worth 2, and fuck. Here you go again, Bills. You're gonna ride double point Bills.
Get too cute riding Lamar there, just because he won the fantasy championship.
Rob V with the Bills.
the Ravens were favored though, right, Dane?
They were.
That's the only reason I took Buffalo. I thought the Ravens were going to win that game. If it had,
In fact, that you said that at the time, right before you picked. You were like, "Wait, Buffalo's worth 2." Yeah, Buffalo. Yeah, and I don't blame people for picking Buffalo based on the same damn thing. But Arrowhead's a little different. I feel like
it is.
See, that's the thing. I'm not picking Buffalo for that reason. I just think I think they're going to win.
Fair.
Because I am tied for the lead right now.
Yeah, you are, fucker.
Yeah, Dane kind of shit the bed last weekend.
I did. Hey, Johnny's right there too. So, just
Johnny
saying.
riding the Commanders the whole way. That's what held him. That's what kept him up here with us.
Yeah.
Facts. Chiefs ain't fucking with the Bills. Taking all bets, Rob V said. I collected off the Bills last week, he said. Rob and Allen, Bills lovers. Clancy.
Yeah,
Stirring the pot.
Allen's on the Bills now, huh? Since Detroit's eliminated.
Probably.
I guess you want what you can't have. Ooh, girl, that's too damn bad. Oh. Murph, you know that song?
Yes, sir. Is that Spank
Superman.
Superman. That's
Why didn't you ask me, Dane?
I knew it was an Eminem song.
Scott, you're more of an 80s rocker, right?
Oh, good Lord. 80s music sucks.
He wasn't referencing the Eagles, Scott.
Go back a little farther.
That's a different Eagles, Scott.
Well, I know I would have said fuck no. So.
Oh shit. Let's see it.
I need the Skins to win so Clancy loses Saquon in our other contest.
I wonder who all has in that league. Who all has 4 people left, or more?
I have 2 Bills and a Chiefs, so I'm losing. I got no one in the NFC, so you can go on there and look.
Yeah, I have 4 people left, but I have the worst score in the fucking league.
But you got 2 weeks that you can use them, assuming the right teams win for you.
Yeah, I guess I should hope that the Chiefs win based on that, because I got 2 Chiefs. But
hey, Johnny, those weren't bad days either.
Aaron, Glenn. So we're going to have 2 Aarons next year, guys?
I don't know. You keep hearing the Aaron Glenn wants him there.
You do hear that a lot.
So I don't, but who knows if it's true?
Is it not?
But I did see Victor Green saying that Rodgers is going to be there. It was because what was it? Keyshawn said he'll walk to New York in his underwear or some damn thing and his boxers if Rodgers is back, and And Victor said, "Get ready to walk." But I don't know that Rogers wants to even play football anymore. But we'll see.
Who? Let me ask you. Let me phrase this a different way. Then, whose choice is it for you guys? And I'm not saying Aaron's. I'm saying internally.
I don't think that it's Aaron's choice. I mean, his choice is retirement or play, but I think he wants to play, and I actually think he wants to play for the Jets, probably because he feels like slighted by how everything worked out. You know what I mean? Like he wants to prove everybody wrong. You know how he is. Um, but I think it's up to the GM and Aaron Glenn. I think that
Both.
and
That's what I'm asking. Is it just if Glenn wants him, Glenn has him, or is it a Muji? Is it a Woody? Is it a?
I think it's up to Glenn.
I think it's there's going to be a discussion, like a meeting held between Woody, the GM, and Glenn based on what to do.
I gotta believe Glenn and Woody have already had that conversation.
Possibly.
So some people assume Woody wants him gone. Some people, say they think Woody wants him here. I don't know. Who knows?
To me, the fact that they gave Glenn a 5-year deal kind of tells me that Aaron's gone.
See, I looked at it.
If they gave him a 3-year deal, I would expect Aaron to be back.
I looked at it a different way. I looked at it as that gives him some time to have Aaron next year, maybe 2 years, and then some time to develop a quarterback.
You could look at it either way, to be honest, because 5 years is long enough to rent Rodgers, recover, and go all in again, or it's enough to just throw away 2025, like I've been trying to warn you guys, and then lick your wounds and make one authentic push. I don't know, man. I wish we would just cut Rodgers and then we can say, all right, now we'll negotiate with him. And if we can get him back on 1 year for like 10 mil, then okay. Now it's on him then, is what I'm saying. Like, I want to push it to him. If he wants to sign here, that's different.
Well, 10 million's ridiculous.
Well, he's getting, what, 80 million to walk away? Because the moment we cut him,
oh, you're
he's
saying
getting,
after? Okay, I gotcha. Yeah,
he's gonna get a large check.
He has said he expects to redo his contract if he is there next year, and he went as far to say the same thing about Devontae. So we'll see. That's gonna, just give us plenty to talk about.
Facts. One of the top things on my list, aside from Sherwood, is I would extend AVT yesterday. Mosley?
Moses.
Okay. Moses. AVT is on that 5th-year option, though, and that's shitty to do to him.
What is Simpson's contract? You got 1 more year on it?
Mm-hmm. I don't know the figure, but yeah, 1 more.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind extending him.
Would you prioritize the trenches over the skill positions then?
You have to decide between one or the other. I'm almost always going to prioritize the trenches.
I would say trenches as far as re-signing and free agents, and then skill positions and draft.
Yeah.
This year specifically.
Yeah. So we'll have.
And it looks like a stud receiver could be falling right in their lap.
I think it's likely. I don't think he'll go top 6. Do you? The only other intriguing is Abdul Carter, man. Did you see what
Well,
he did?
That's the other one.
Yeah. With Jermaine and with Will McDonald and with Quinnen, like, God.
And like we talked about earlier, it's easier to find a receiver than a pass rusher. So
Facts.
maybe that's the reason. If he's available, skip the receiver. We'll find one in the second round.
Yeah,
You can
but
always.
Jets
are
have
we going to rotate though? We're not going to rotate near as much. Post
Yeah,
dollar.
true.
well, but it's
So-
insurance also. What if JJ doesn't come back from the injury like we think he might?
I mean, yeah, that's possible, but I feel like they would just sign like a mid-tier guy, on
Yeah,
a half decent deal. Like
could be.
I want to say like a JFM guy, but you know what I mean, like somebody like that.
Yeah.
Just for insurance on like a bridge deal.
You'd have to do it before you know about Jermaine, though. I mean, free
Well, yeah,
agency is.
that's insurance, dude. It's literally insurance.
Yeah,
So that's what insurance is. Like you pay for the insurance, and you don't know whether your house is going to burn down or not, but you're just being
Right.
safe.
even before, like, okay, you're right about insurance on JJ. The only thing I wish is that the free agency was after the draft. But, like, because if Carter's not there and we take McMillan, then the free agent can be an edge. If McMillan's gone and we take Carter, then the free agent could be a receiver, but, like, not knowing will suck. We got to be prepared for Lazard to be wide receiver 2 next year.
Oh my God! Stop it, Dane.
Dane, I'm going to stop being your co-host.
Well, hey, and you know what? So you have 3 pass rushers. That's not a terrible thing. Not to mention, then you have some trade bait as well.
And you need a wide receiver, so you're getting both.
Well, okay. Well, here's the thing. So they bring back Rodgers and Adams. Well, does that make the decision easier?
Yeah.
But Adams, 1, maybe 2 years, you're still going to need to replace him because you got time. Like we said, there's a lot of good receivers around.
You brought up a good point, though, Dane. Why do they do it that way? Like, why don't they put the free agency after the draft?
I imagine that they want the veterans to get their money before you, because if they let you draft first, then like you may not pay the free agents. I don't know.
Or are you going to be more desperate because you couldn't get the guys that you wanted in the draft? And you're like, shit, I have a huge hole at CB2 right now. I'm going to overpay this guy just to make sure I get him.
When is the official start of the new NFL year?
I think it's March 15th or somewhere in March.
Mm-hmm.
And because I was looking at Geno Smith's deal and I saw he's got like a $10 million option hitting in March, and it's like the second day of the league year or something. So Geno will be a free agent. That changes to who the bridge options are. But what I will say is you shouldn't be drafting for need anyway. Like, fuck who we need. Like, we're gonna have to just draft who we believe in at 7, regardless. If Jermaine's ahead of schedule and Will McDonald, it don't matter. If Carter's the best guy, you still take him, right?
Yeah.
But every person on Twitter and everywhere though is drafting based on need, not best player available. So
you gotta go BPA 99.99% of the time.
Well,
usually the only time you don't go BPA is whenever you're drafting quarterback.
But what if it's pretty close, but
Okay.
one is a position of need, and one is not.
Yeah, yeah.
If
There's
it's
some
real close.
And then
gotta be close.
there's certain positions that they're just not as valuable, right, in the draft.
Yeah, like
You're not-
kicker.
maybe who you mentioned? Oh, the kicker.
Nugent.
No, the safety in Baltimore. That a lot of people when they
Oh,
took
Kyle Hamilton.
a lot of people are like taking a safety here. What are you doing? Well, it's worked out.
Yeah,
Just all it does is it skews the risk reward, That's like you want to draft a Puka in the 5th round. Is he worth a first? Yes, but like the value to your franchise is different when you can draft him later. Mike Nugent in the 2nd, I don't know why we did that. Like he was great in college, but a 2nd rounder.
he wasn't a bad kicker for us either, though. I didn't think so.
No, correct.
By the way, March 10th is when the legal tampering period starts.
Fair. Okay.
We all know that that's when real free agency begins.
Yeah, like there's no tampering going on this very second.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
At the combine and everything else, there's all kinds of tampering going on.
Brady's tampering every week. He goes to a different stadium to look at different teams.
Yeah, that's effed.
It is, but at
Like,
least
can we just?
I was gonna say at least it's F for the Raiders and not the Patriots.
I mean, you can't put cheating past Brady, so whatever.
No, obviously not.
One thing I forgot to get to this earlier, so it's just out of place talking about it now. But I just wanted to ask real quick, your thoughts. Whether you thought that we would be second on this list.
No.
Is that shocking?
Yeah.
Is that shocking to you that we're number 2? Giants are 3 as well, but what is it? Is it only because our stadium holds more? Where are you guys at when you see this graphic?
I would think it's the Rodgers effect, I guess.
And there was a lot of excitement early in the year, even when they had a 2% chance to make the playoffs. But I am surprised, and I'm more surprised by the Giants. And the Rams even. Wow.
I mean, obviously the stadium does help because I think ours holds like 80K or something. But I just don't understand it because I heard of home games later in the year that they said the upper bowl was like empty. So like,
Well,
maybe it counts if the ticket's sold.
That's what it is, I bet.
Interesting.
And then the Rams are surprising, but then I don't know if you guys have watched many Rams games, but it seems like oftentimes there's more visitor fans there than home fans. But
True.
that counts as attendance.
That's still attendance, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you watch a 49ers Rams game, and there's way more red in the stands than anything else. It's kind of
True.
sad, really.
LA is really just not a football city. They've been talking about that for years. It's crazy that they have 2 LA teams, but they're really not a football city. They're Dodgers and Lakers, man.
Yeah. I think they were kind of Raiders. I'd be curious how the Raiders grew there. But yeah, the Rams never caught on. I don't know. It's too bad the Chargers couldn't stay in San Diego, but
I'll never get used to that.
Yeah, same. And why didn't if they're going to do a Las Vegas team, why didn't they move Sandy like the Chargers to Las Vegas and then have the Raiders be, L.A. That just didn't make any sense to me.
I think the Chargers didn't want to build their own stadium, maybe, right? Aren't they sharing with the Rams? Are they going to build their own, or is it going to be a New York?
You're right. You're right. You're absolutely right there. That's what it is.
But the Raiders, they were trying to get out of Oakland. Well, they had gotten out of Oakland, then they went back, and then that. I don't know if you guys have ever been to the Oakland Coliseum, but it is a friggin' dump.
Murph, you've been there quite a few, right?
Nope. Dude, I've never been west of Kentucky.
Well, let's see. I think an Oregon Ducks game with Ohio State coming to visit could be a good time to do that. I know it happened this year, but it'll happen again.
Oh yeah, we'll get Murph on a plane yet, man.
We're in that national championship Ohio State had.
I'm empty. I'm emptying my bag. I got one more tweet. One interesting thing with Glenn would be a clear schematic and aggressiveness change to the Jets' defensive philosophy. Man, I should have worked this in earlier. Lions played the most cover 0, cover 1, cover 2 man in the league at almost 45%, 11% higher than what the Jets did under Saleh Ulbrich. And we are on our way out the door, but any final thoughts as far as us playing possibly 11, maybe even more with our personnel, 11% higher man-to-man?
Well, I have heard this is in regards to Wilkes. He likes to send the top corner with the top receiver. So they might be on the same page there. That would be nice to see if Sauce is up for the job, which we're all hoping for a bounce back.
He better get his cardio up then, because every time he broached on the subject of shadowing this year, I caught him throwing in how tiring it is to shadow, or how tiring man-to-man coverage is. I hope he's ready. That's all.
Well, maybe that's why we saw him on the sideline a lot of fourth quarters this year. He was tired. Come on, Sauce, let's go.
Stop playing golf. Start training.
Exactly.
But yeah, I like an aggressive scheme. I love man-to-man. Let's do it.
When it's funny is I'm Glenn saying that we're gonna hit people, we're gonna be tough, all the same stuff the defensive guys always say. But hey, do it. He was feisty, and he's gonna expect his players to be the same way. I gotta believe.
Yeah, he said if you're not those 3 qualifiers, whatever they were again,
you're gone.
Get the hell out. Dude, about time. Let's fucking go. All right. We're all ready for bed. Scott, you ready for our second show?
Let's go.
West Coast Jets.
Let's go. Murph's kind of late for him.
I see Clancy. It says there's 21 on YouTube still, but hey, they've fallen asleep. I think we got Clancy and Jerry in the house. Appreciate you guys for chopping it up. Still, we'll see next week. We should have a GM, an OC, a DC, a special team. We should have a lot of shit, man. So
there was a lot happening today, but none of it involved the Jets.
Yeah.
Well, except I guess their linebacker coach went to Atlanta.
Oh yeah. Rutenberg or whatever. Cohen to Jacksonville, Carroll to Vegas. Man, shit.
Well,
Slowick or whatever out in Houston.
Slow Dick is
Yep.
someone calls him.
Schottenheimer.
Sala got hired in San Francisco. Yeah, Pete Carroll.
Bunch of shit.
So the Saints still have. I wonder if they're waiting for somebody that's still playing. Because if McCarthy was their guy, why not just hire him? What are they waiting for?
I wonder if Mother Nature didn't fuck with Aaron Glenn's travel plans. Does that matter?
Well, we know it fucked with him, but yeah, did it fuck with his coaching plans? I don't think so.
I don't either. He wanted us for, like I said, for some reason.
I wouldn't be surprised if the Saints, like, since they're the last team, they might just take it easy and wait till the playoffs are over. They might be waiting on. They might want to interview Joe Brady or like a couple guys that are still in the playoffs.
Kingsbury.
That wouldn't surprise me at all. Like, they know they're the last team, so they might as well wait. They already got a GM in play. They didn't fire their GM.
But they could be missing out on coordinators.
They could.
Obviously, for the head coach, well, now they got their pick. Yeah, interesting.
Maybe Kingsbury will go there. I doubt it, though.
Man, I don't know. Well,
he seemed content. Yeah.
For at least another year.
Why get a job at the end of the cycle when you're going if you're going to be a hot name next year? Like, why not just, yeah, you're right, stay put.
It'd be hard to leave that quarterback.
You know who I could see the Saints going after that maybe people aren't talking about? I could see them snatching up Spags.
Yeah, I could
feels
too.
Very Saints-ish to me.
I heard he was a contender before Carroll got involved. I think it was there somewhere. He was like a final contender. I forget.
Really?
If it was the Raiders or not, but yeah, really, I don't know if it was there or Jacksonville or I don't know. I think it was Raiders. But he's in the mix, is what I'm saying. We'll see.
And Gino, back to Gino, I could see him going to the Raiders. Carroll likes him. He sent Russ packing for Gino.
You know what?
They need a quarterback.
What if he gets Russ and Gino together again?
I don't think he will get Russ. I mean, they weren't really happy with each other those last couple years in Seattle. Team 3 and all that bullshit.
Supposedly they've been mending relationship.
Yeah,
last year.
Easy to do when you're not in the same building, I guess.
Exactly.
Yeah, the long goodbye. Yep. We make sure that everybody has alternate plans lined up before we cut them loose. All right, though.
Dane, I can't quit you.
Hey, addicted to the danger zone. The wait, how do I say it? The Daniel zone.
Daniel, yeah. The Dingleberry zone.
Yes.
Yeah.
Hey, it fits with Jets though. We're always in the danger zone, man.
Yeah. Right.
All right. Good night, gents.
All right. Night, everybody.
Night, Murph. Later,
You're
everybody.
in the danger zone.
I love the show. I love you guys. Fucking let's go Jets. Jets, Jets.
I'm beating you with my mind, and I can still dominate. I think.
Dane, you're a legend, bro.